Shinzo Abe, as a family funeral was held days after his assassination that shocked the nation.
Abe, the country's longest-serving prime minister, who remained influential even after he stepped down 2 years ago, was gunned down on Friday during a campaign speech. Hundreds of people filled pedestrian walks outside of the Sojoji Temple in downtown Tokyo to bid farewell to Abe. Mourners waved, took photos, and some called out Abe's son as a motorcade, including a hearse, slowly drove by the packed crowd. Only his widow, other close family members, and senior party leaders, including Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, attended the funeral. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Iran has arrested an internationally renowned filmmaker, the third Iranian director to be locked up in less than a week. Townhall.com. A Maine Democrat, the latest member of Congress to test positive for COVID-19.
The White House today is hosting the first congressional picnic since the pandemic, with the vice president, cabinet members, senior officials, and hundreds of lawmakers' families and staff invited to the event on the South Lawn. Definitely not attending in person will be Maine Congresswoman Shelley Pingree, who tested positive for COVID-19. She's experiencing mild symptoms. The Maine Democrat says she's fully vaccinated with 2 boosters. She's the fourth and last member of Maine's delegation to announce she had come down with the virus. Pingree said in a statement that her positive test is a good reminder that COVID is not done with us. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer won't be there either. His spokesman announced Sunday that the New York Democrat had tested positive and was experiencing mild symptoms. He plans to quarantine but continue working remotely. Jennifer King, Washington.
Dow futures down 188. NASDAQ futures 25 points higher. More on these stories. Townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome to a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Go to that mic. Number 4, we don't push the guest out of the way. Thanks. Good morning, folks. Hope your Tuesday is off to a fantastic start.
I didn't push him.
You like
for the
edged
record.
in, dude. You got to read the room. You edged in. I got to say a humongous thank you to Roy. Roy came through in a pinch today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, young Tanner spent some time last evening at a local medical facility. Had some issues, I guess from what I understand, with his blood pressure was up, stress was up. We work in a high-stress industry, folks, and when it comes at you hard and fast, you take it as it comes, then you try to breathe after the fact, you're like, oh, something might be wrong here. So yeah, we rushed around, scrambled to make sure that we had things covered, and big thanks to Roy for coming through in the clutch. I mean, absolute super short notice on that, but huge thank you to you, sir.
Hope he pulls through.
Absolutely, yeah, we're rooting for you. Thoughts and prayers, as they say. And just know, I tipped this man $20 cash money to be here. Yes,
it's true.
I was like, I understand, staring at the backside of your eyelids when you're actually supposed to be off, that's a lot more tempting than come into work if you can. But I figured I'd sweeten it just a little bit. So yeah, big thanks to Roy for coming through in the clutch. Your new overlord of morning shows, really.
I didn't put that there.
Oh, I was like, that's lofty. Thanks, Tanner. So he put that in before he took himself out. That's That's upsetting. But yeah, hopefully your Tuesday, the second day of the rest of your life, is off to a good start. Obviously, I am not Mike Winters. No, I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mixmaster Mike Winters back inside your radios. Hopefully tomorrow morning. He is enjoying the last day of his little excursion to the cool pines of Ruidoso with his lovely young wife. So they're enjoying some time. Probably going to sneak back over to Wahlburgers one more time and hit that place up before he heads back. Hoping he'll regale us with tales of all sorts of different foods. That's the thing with Mike. Is like when other people go on vacation, you take pictures of like really pretty mountains and some like flowers that we saw, really cool light show. Mike and I, when we go on vacation, we're like, ooh, this steak looks amazing. Look at that bagel. Hey, that is a fantastic looking donut, sir. Stuff like that. So those are the things that that we do. As my sister once said, I go on vacation and I eat my memories, which is largely true. I go back to Oklahoma, I eat Brahms. It's like one of my favorite places to eat.
You eat your merms? My
merms. You ever been to like Texas, Oklahoma area? Seen the Brahms?
No.
Heard of it? It's amazing. It's like Dairy Queen. It's like they serve like burgers and fries and stuff, but then the other side of it is like a whole store. They sell like milk and eggs and like bundt cakes and stuff.
That's Brahms?
Yeah, Brahms it's called. It's an ice cream and dairy store. It's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were awesome. I love Brahms. Didn't have a point to that story, but yeah, there you go. But yeah, Mike, once he's done eating his memories, that was the point. We'll be back inside of your radios tomorrow morning. Let me give you the rundown for this morning's show. Coming up here in just a few minutes, around 7:15 or so, we'll be chatting with Dr. Mark Andrews from Roswell Medical Clinic. We'll be chatting about just all sorts of different topics, a wealth of information, a whole bunch of stuff that we can cover coming up here in just a few minutes on this Tuesday morning. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, around 8:15 or so, we'll be sitting down and chat with Colonel Jesse Borrow, who is the athletic director from New Mexico Military Institute. We'll be chatting with him all about, there's lots of exciting things happening over at the Institute, up to and including their grand reopening of their armory. That's going to be happening tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow we'll know more once Colonel Borrow joins us in the 8 o'clock hour. So we'll chat with him then. Then coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Mr. Robert Reynolds will be stopping by for his monthly visit. Give us a rundown of everything that's happening with Senior Circle, with all the stuff that he does, his genealogy stuff, the singing that he does, all kinds of stuff that he's into. Mr. Robert Reynolds give us his monthly update coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Plus, of course, all of your hourly features, which include your Kim Commando update, Town Hall business news, Sean Hannity update, and whatever else comes our way on this Tuesday. 11 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's pause for a moment and take a look at some weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 73 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity about 62% with winds out of the northwest at around 8 miles an hour. Barometer at about 30.17 inches with a dew point of 59 degrees. If any of that means anything to you. Looking at mostly sunny skies, hot. Now, I got good news for you. Or at least you can lie to yourself and tell you it's good news. We're under triple digits for the next 2 days. Or at least the forecast is. That's right. Get ready. 99 degrees for the high, right? Not too shabby. Mostly sunny, though. It's going to be hot. Let's be real. It's going to be really hot. Winds out of the north 15 to 20 miles an hour, later becoming 10 to 15 in the afternoon. For tonight, partly cloudy, a low of around 71 degrees. Winds out of the east 10 to 15 miles an hour, becoming north after midnight. And for your Wednesday, mostly sunny and hot, high of getting up there, 99 degrees. Winds out of the north 5 to 10, becoming southeast later in the afternoon. Wednesday night, once the sun goes down, 100% chance of dark, partly cloudy, 74 degrees for the overnight low, winds calm, 5 to 10, sunny, and 102 for your Thursday. So really pushing them triples into your Thursday and Friday. 100 once again for Friday, 103 for Saturday. And get this, a real, actual semi-reprieve from the heat on Sunday. partly sunny, only 95 degrees for the high. Whew, it's like Christmas in July. They're just giving it to us in droves, aren't they? It's so nice of them. 13 minutes after 7 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. We're going to take a real quick second to talk to you about the ultimate Wi-Fi experience. We're talking about fiber to the home technology. It's smart home Wi-Fi with Plateau. It's 100 times faster than the average household internet speed. If you want the fastest, we're talking 16 gig up and down. You can expand your home Wi-Fi coverage with Plateau's smart home Wi-Fi. You find the plan that fits your family. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true, and tested. Give them a shot today. 14 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's pause, pay a couple of these bills, and after these, we're going to be sitting down and chatting with Dr. Mark Andrews from Roswell Medical Clinic on the other side of a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Well, the biting bugs and the ferocious flyers are out in force, and if you don't take care of them now, you'll be swatting and scratching all summer. Makes me itchy just thinking about it. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Whether it's keeping the fleas and ticks off your animals or keeping the flies and mosquitoes away from your barbecue, you gotta use the right stuff, and you gotta do it at the right time. So come see us now at Roswell Seed Company, and don't let the bugs tick you off. Get it? Tick.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. 872 head of cattle sold on Monday on an uneven market with excellent buyer tenants. Compared to last week, stocker calves sold steady. Feeder cattle 2 to 4 higher. Packer cows and bulls 1 to 3 lower. 3 to 400 pound steers 205, 214. 3 to 400 pound heifers 171, 174. 4 to 500 pound steers 189, 205. 4 to 500 pound heifers 171, 173. 5 to 600 pound steers 179, 189. 5 to 600 pound heifers 164, 173. 6 700 pound steers 155, 179. 6 700 pound heifers 138, 164. 7 800 pound steers 135, 155. 7 800 pound heifers 130, 138. Packer cows 83 to 90 and a half. Canner and cutter cows 75 to 80. Packer bulls 90 to 101.50. Feeder bulls 70 to 80. Top half the cow calf pairs $1,100 to $1,400 per pair. Top half the bred cows $1,000 to $1,235 per head. We do appreciate the business, and we'll talk to you next Monday morning. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Joining us in studio is Dr. Mark Andrews from Roswell Medical Clinic. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Second day of the rest of all of our lives, and the last day without Mixmaster Mike Winters. So let's talk for a second about Roswell Medical Clinic. You guys, you do things a little bit differently at Roswell Medical Clinic. I've heard a lot of in some of your ads that we've run here, and in a lot of talk about Roswell Medical, the word functional medicine gets used. So what exactly is functional medicine? I kind of always thought medicine in general was functional.
Yeah, I think we would hope.
Right.
I think a lot of times it's pretty dysfunctional.
Fair enough.
So
I think maybe I was thinking of the word competent. I think that's what we hope for.
Very good question. Functional medicine, in a couple words, is root cause medicine. I'm at our clinic. We've got 4 providers: Bracy, Tanya, Jennifer, and myself.
Okay.
We can take care of everybody of all ages, women's health care, men, kids, etc. But we come at it from a different standpoint. I want to know the root cause of your disease. I'll diagnose it. That's fine. Okay. Typically, all that you do when you go to the doctor is they diagnose your illness.
You had a heart attack.
They give you a pill.
Right.
And you're on your way.
Uh-huh.
I want to know what caused it. I want you to know what caused it. Because if you don't know what caused it, you can't reverse it. And that's what we really specialize in, is how do we reverse the illness that you have?
So basically, you work like almost like a mystery author. You start with the end point, and then you work your way back and find that path. And so everything from genetics, I'm assuming, to just improper diet and exercise, things like that are contributing factors, but also more in-depth research.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll sometimes tell the story. Normally when you go to your doctor, the patient's job is to whine about something. Like, I have acid in my tummy and it comes up my throat and it burns and I don't like that.
Right.
And then the doctor's job is to give you a pill and say...
I like how you have assigned the patient a voice.
Yeah.
I get that in everybody's head. That's what sales sounds like to me, by the way.
So the doctor's job is to tell you exactly what you just told them, but use a little Latin so it sounds more professional and less whiny.
Sure.
So I say, oh, well, that's gastroesophageal reflux disease. Here's your pill. Now, I'm probably not supposed to take the time to explain to you that pill will block the absorption of every vitamin known to mankind, and you now will most assuredly die early of heart attack, strokes, cancer, kidney failure, and Alzheimer's.
So what now?
Yes. And in functional medicine, my job is to say, well, you might need the little purple pill for a few weeks so you don't have a gastric ulcer that ruptures and kills you, but let's talk about how you got this problem and what are you going to do to reverse that problem.
Okay.
So you're not on potentially dangerous medicine for the rest of your life.
Right.
That particular pill I referred to, when it came out, doctors were only allowed to give it for 2 weeks because it was that dangerous.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, when they say medicine is a practice, it's because everyone is still learning. I mean, 3-4 years ago, I was taking Zantac 150s, 3 times a week, and then everybody, by the way, that little pill you're taking, it's going to give you all the cancers. So you might want to not take that. If you could reverse taking that for the last 5 years, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's everybody's learning. It's a process.
So it absolutely is. One of the other things that I just love, and I'll be honest, I was in medicine for a lot of years before I realized that I never would ask the patient when I saw him, so how are you today? Because you didn't really want to know the answer. Because why else are they at the doctor's office? Now it's completely different. I love to ask that question because people come back with, I'm better than I've ever been. And we have the ability now, if you know how to interpret the labs, to be able to predict what's going to happen to you in the future if you keep doing what you're doing.
Sure.
And then I can teach you how to make sure that your future is very, very, very different. So, for example, if you go to the doctor and they say your B12 is low, take a pill, right? I'll explain to the patient why your B12 is low. What happened to make your B12 low? And I'll meet them back next week and they get another B12 shot and I'll quiz them. So why was your B12 low? They forgot. But that's okay because their B12 is so low, their brain has been shrinking for the last 6 months. So we just keep at it until they know why their B12 was low. Taking pills is going to help get it up, but that wasn't why it was low.
It could be something as simple as maybe, and this is, I'm super simplifying things, but you're not getting enough leafy greens. Something along those lines. You're not getting enough of a certain type of food because you're nutrient
Good
deficient
thought, and that's what I would have told people back when I owned and ran 2 vegan health clinics.
Okay.
And I realized I drank the Kool-Aid and believed the lies, and I've
I've had more than my fair share of the green barley grass too.
What you find out is that it's actually a leaky gut issue typically, and it's because of a horrific combination in our world of lectins in food that are wonderful and yummy, and God meant for you to eat them.
Sure.
But when you are poisoned with Roundup, it causes havoc, and that is one of the leading causes of heart disease, arthritis, and all sorts of other inflammatory issues, including fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all sorts of things.
So what you're trying to say here ultimately is that it's Monsanto's fault. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But no.
What I say behind closed doors of the patients will remain that way.
The views expressed by Sean Smalls do not reflect those of Mornings with Mike Winters.
But it's an amazing thing because it leads your body to produce a hormone called zonulin, which literally just blows holes in your intestines and makes them leaky and loose. As a result, you can't absorb your vitamins well. Plus, you get little particles floating in your bloodstream that just cause inflammation in your arteries, in your brain, in your joints as they precipitate out.
Sure.
So we explain to the people why you have arthritis. No doctors explain to them why they have arthritis, but you were meant to be able to heal. And if you go to an indigenous tribe that hasn't been touched yet by seed oils and glyphosate, you're going to find that they don't typically have a word for arthritis. These 75-year-old gentlemen sit around, without a chair, squatting around the fire, and they've got a word for, I'm 75 and I fell out of the coconut tree and my elbow hurts, but they don't have a word for, my hip always hurts, my knees
prolonged pain, stuff like that.
And so, but the beautiful thing about it is we can teach you how to reverse that. I've had so many times when a person will come in saying, I need surgical clearance for my surgery in Lubbock. They're going to replace both my knees at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're waiting for the workup in the labs and their EKG to make sure they're safe to do that, we get them to make some changes. And they come back 2 weeks later and they're like, oh, yeah, I canceled my surgery. I don't need that anymore. I'm fine. And so it's really been fun to see now when we actually understand what causes people to get sick, to be able to let them actually heal themselves.
You're basically giving someone the keys to figuring out their own problems, and actually and basically you're kind of putting yourself out of business. You're making it to where people can heal themselves. You're giving people the keys to the kingdom.
True. That is true. That's a bad business model.
I'm just saying, maybe
when I first took over, my first practice was bought for me by a hospital in Portland, Oregon, and they put me in there to take over for this 82-year-old gentleman. Mm-hmm. He had a great business model. Every month, every patient came to see him. Everybody was happy. They got Valium and a B12 shot. I got in there, and I had been trained that maybe Valium for everybody all day long wasn't the best practice.
Sure.
I had been trained too that nobody's really low in B12 that often. It's quite rare. So we started checking B12 levels, and you know what? None of the people in the practice actually had low B12 levels after we stopped their B12 shots. They were fine. We followed them for years. Nobody had B12 that was low. Now, in 2022, I would say that probably 1 out of 4 has a dangerously low B12 level. And part of the problem is that their doctors won't know that because we have crazy ranges on those little labs that you think of as normal. Mm-hmm. It might say 211 to 911. Well, 210 is when you can't make a red blood cell any longer and you're going to have pernicious anemia and somebody might notice. But at 400, your brain is shrinking, your nerves are demyelinating, and it's going to have an incredible impact on your life.
Sure.
So that's one of the beautiful things we get to do is we pay a lot more attention to exactly, are we optimizing you? That's the other beautiful thing about functional medicine.
Right.
I'm shooting for optimization. I want the patient to come tell me, I haven't felt this good in 20 years. Not just, the pill makes me feel a little bit better.
You're building better people, basically.
Absolutely.
That's an awesome way to look at medicine. It's definitely a different way to look at things.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the big ugly C word. I've used the joke BC versus AD, meaning before COVID versus after disease, and COVID-19 definitely had an effect not only on the way people looked at our fellow man, but also the way we look at our physician, the way we look at our hospitals, our facilities. What's it been like from your perspective over the last 2.5 or so years?
It's been maybe one of the more encouraging times to be a physician because you see what it means to folks when you step up and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get them well. Sure. So we've been open the whole time. We've been seeing patients in person that whole time. Obviously, most people are back to that, but we were open the entire time, and it was a blessing to be able to be there for people. Mm-hmm. We have a hyperbaric chamber. We were pulling out all the stops to get people through.
So you were seeing folks in person when everyone else was doing the telehealth thing.
Yes, to a large degree. Yes,
sure.
Everybody else came back on board after a while. Since COVID, life has changed. On the downside, life insurance companies are reporting that last year there was a 40% increase in overall mortality. Really? That means people are dying 40% faster than ever before.
Really?
Not from COVID. So something very significant has changed. I'm sure there are quite a number of things. We won't go into why I think that 40% jump happened, but part of it is, we know, yet to come, and that is that a lot of the major labs are reporting that the positivity rates of their pathology results are going through the roof. At times as much as 20-fold increase in breast cancer biopsies turning out positive for cancer, cervical cancer, viral cultures turning out positive 20 times faster than normal. So apparently something around that COVID epidemic has led to some immune system issues. And this is a really important time because we're really upping our game in terms of diagnosing, preventing, and doing health maintenance.
Sure.
I don't want to see my patients down the road finding out that breast cancer they thought they beat is actually reoccurring.
Do you think that and this is something I kind of saw on and I'm using the quotey fingers here, layman's level, is folks basically putting every other ailment, every other issue in their lives, their high blood pressure, their anything on several back burners just because the focus on everything was, is it COVID? If it's not COVID, you're fine.
Yes, and that was just horrific because, honestly, nobody died of the virus. If you ever had to do an autopsy on somebody who died of COVID,
sure,
there weren't really any viruses left in them at that point. It was their immune system going crazy and attacking their tissues that was the problem. And yet, American medicine and the government didn't point people in that direction.
Right.
And there was a ton that could be done. We know that the biggest risk factors were ultimately, and they'll tell you things like high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes. Those are all the same thing. That's insulin resistance. It drives all of those. And that's how we reverse all of those, is we fix your insulin resistance issue. The other part of it was low vitamin D3, because 97% of people who died of COVID were 30 and below. Mm-hmm. You should be 60 to 80.
Yeah.
When I came to Roswell and we started checking everybody every 3 months about 8 years ago, I was shocked, because my migrant laborers who are out in the field from sun up till sundown had the lowest vitamin D levels I've ever seen. And if you get on Dr. Google and ask why do people have low vitamin D, every idiot with a keyboard is going to tell you it's because they're using too much sunblock or they're not in the sun enough.
Sure.
Well, that wasn't true of these guys.
Right.
No sunblock, and they're in the sun all day long. Of
course.
Turns out Roundup blocks and poisoned your body's ability to convert cholesterol to vitamin D. And so that was a huge predictor. Well, I can tell you that knowing we check everybody, most people in this town are horrifically low because most of our food is sprayed with Roundup.
Sure.
And yet we'll find that once they go organic after about 3 years, they don't need vitamin D supplements any longer, because they'll just pop back up into the optimum end of the range. So that's the bad things that have happened since COVID is mortality rates increased. People have kind of quit going to the doctor, when really we need to up our game to make sure that we're on top of things. There have been some good things. Number one, some incredible weight loss medicines have come out. I mean,
I've heard about
amazing.
a couple of interesting. People are talking about the miracle pills.
There is a problem. Insurance doesn't want to pay for those.
Oh.
And so normally, if I sent you off to the pharmacy and your insurance didn't cover it, it's $800 a month.
Wow.
We've got a source out of Tel Aviv at $20 a week.
Okay.
Almost everybody can afford that.
Sure.
And then the other thing is, you were lied to. I'll tell the new patients, almost everything you think you know about nutrition is wrong. One of the biggest lies that people are told is calorie math.
Oh, right.
If you'll cut your calories by 400 a day, and then you exercise 200 more on top of that, you get to subtract a total of 600, then you can multiply in X number of days, you'll lose X number of pounds, wham, bam. It doesn't happen that way after the first couple of diets when you're young. Mm-hmm. You were designed to make sure that if there's a famine out there, and who's going to quit eating unless there's a famine?
Right.
Your body's going to slow down your metabolism. Your epigenetics kick in, and your body does everything it can to turn every morsel of food into fat. Mm-hmm. And so we find that the less and less and less you eat, and the more you exercise, the lower you drive your metabolism, and you spend the rest of your life getting fatter and fatter and fatter. So it's really been fun, because over the last couple of years, I spend a lot of my time trying to get my patients to eat more. And it is so exciting for them when we get them to eat more of the right things.
Of the right
more
things.
calories. I don't mean you just eat 20 pounds of vegetables a day. I mean, we get you eating more of the right kind of calories, and you start dropping weight when people hadn't in a long, long time.
There's a big split amongst a lot of physicians, and I know a lot of it's because a lot of physicians are getting, their back pockets filled by, other companies. There's a big split when it comes to, say, for example, the ketogenic thing. A lot of people like keto, it's going to kill your gut biome. It's going to, it's going to wreck your gut health. But I've talked to a lot of people who have seen amazing results from it. Yeah.
So,
and it's so counterintuitive.
It is. In a sense, it's not. Once you understand it, it's not.
Oh, absolutely.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's counterintuitive to the American way of thinking.
Designed.
Right.
First of all, any diet where you might lose weight, I don't care if you're starving yourself. I don't care if it's a 5 Twinkie a day diet. I tried that. I ate them all by 10 a.m. And then I went off the diet.
Right.
I tried the 5 Snicker a day diet, because that's only, about 1,200
I don't know.
calories a day.
I've been having the milkshake for breakfast, the milkshake for lunch, and a sensible they're special milkshakes. I was getting mine from Whataburger. My bad.
So the bottom line, though, is any diet where you lose weight, you produce ketones, because ketones are the breakdown product of fat cells. So if you're burning fat, you will be in ketosis. I don't care what diet it is, whether you're vegan or you're, eating, 5 pounds of meat a day.
Sure.
The question is it a smart ketogenic diet or a probably maybe dumb ketogenic diet?
Right.
We're going to train folks how to do it in a way that's really, really smart.
A lot of people think it's cost prohibitive to do it the smart way.
It really is not. I mean, there are gradations, absolutely. If I'm a billionaire, if I'm Elon Musk, I'm going to have grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, massaged by magical unicorns.
Sure, absolutely.
Ground beef.
Yeah, they have that now.
Anybody else? Organic would be awesome. If that's not in the wheelhouse, any time you eat meat, it was at least grass-fed for 2 years before they put it in the feedlot.
Sure.
And it's going to be higher in omega-3s than chicken, turkey, or pig are going to be because they all grew up in a metal warehouse fed GMO corn sprayed with Roundup. And it's always better than a Twinkie.
Right.
I think they're off the market, so I'm probably not going to get in trouble. Anyway, but yeah, we'll train people how to do it the smartest way possible.
Sure. You kind of tapped on something there. And this was something I just kind of like dipped a toe into when I was at the tail end of my keto, which is omega-3s versus omega-6s and how chicken has a lot more omega-6s. And that's people don't really necessarily understand how fatty acids work, I think.
Right. And to our detriment, because we have a new test that we do called the pulse test. It has nothing to do with the pulse at your wrist. It's an acronym. Basically, it's a test that follows a bunch of inflammatory markers. And those markers are screaming, help me, for the love of God, help me. I'm an artery and I'm inflamed and I'm about to die.
Right.
And that allows us to tell you, based on your age, you only should have a 2.3% chance of having a heart attack in the next 5 years. But in reality, for you, it's 29% because your arteries are screaming that they're inflamed.
Right.
That gives us numbers we can follow, and it's pretty powerful. So when you start to make changes, you'll see results right away. Brings me back to your question. Why do we have heart disease? Do you know that the first known ever medically supervised heart attack was in 1914?
Really?
Humans didn't get heart attacks prior to that. When you go back, you have to go all the way to Egypt during the Fertile Crescent era to find heart attacks. Wow. It's in the rich Egyptians, and they loved seed oils. They had slaves to grind seeds into seed oils, and for them it was a delicacy. The seed oils are omega-6s.
Right.
Huge quantities of linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is what causes insulin resistance. I was morbidly obese most of my life. I lost 80 pounds, I gained it. I lost 80 pounds, I gained it. I gained 100, I lost 100.
Sure.
Back and forth. And I didn't realize that what was driving that was insulin resistance. During a lot of those times of gaining, I would have been probably like most people thinking, you're weak-willed, it's all your fault, you're chubby, you're just a loser.
Sure.
And in reality, what you find is that we have been metabolically broken by these seed oils. Mm-hmm. When they cause insulin resistance, you end up wearing out your pancreas. Your receptors don't respond. They don't do what they should do. We end up with a bunch of type 2 diabetes.
Sure.
When we get those seed oils out early enough in life, we can see that reverse itself and your pancreas can actually start to heal. We can reverse diabetes. But yeah, the quality of the fats is huge. Omega-6s cause inflammation. Omega-3s fight inflammation.
Sure.
You need a little bit of inflammation, so if you cut yourself, things swell up and you quit bleeding.
Right.
We have those ratios way, way out of balance and to our detriment. It's that consumption of seed oils starting in the late 1800s with cottonseed being introduced as one of the first seed oils on the market.
Right.
That was Crisco. They ran lots of radio commercials to tell grandma that God was an idiot. He had PMS the day he made butter. Butter's evil. Crisco is way better. Eat Crisco. Then it morphed into margarine. I can't believe it's not butter. Country crock. And every salad dressing you've ever eaten probably is made with soybean oil.
Right.
Turns out now up to 40% of the American diet is from, calorie-wise, is from soybean oil. This stuff is incredibly inflammatory. It too is going to drive arthritis and inflammation in your arteries and everywhere else. So, the quality of the food that we get is incredibly important. We have a diet coach that helps people through that, and it is just astounding to see the change in people within days and weeks.
I could honestly go on and on about this. One of the things that's fascinating to me about as far as like the consumption of seed oils and how it's basically been literally forced down our throat from through a course of studies that were basically like they weren't done necessarily ethically.
Let me tell you what they did. They covered it up. Ansel Keys did a lot of bad studies. But Ansel Keys did a study, the Minnesota Health Trial, and they ran for 12 years, back when you had people that stayed in jail in psych wards. They don't do that anymore. So he had a captive audience, and this would be unethical now, but he forced half of them to eat seed oils because he thought those were healthy.
Sure.
Half of them got to eat the bad stuff, like,
your butters, your bacon.
Butter and lard and beef tallow and that kind of stuff. After 12 years, they had to stop the study because they realized the guys on the butter were getting better and better and, super healthy. And the guys on the seed oils were dropping dead with heart attacks, strokes, and all sorts of other issues left and right. So the U.S. government made him publish a small portion of the data that was misinterpreted, and he wasn't allowed to publish the rest of the data. He was so disgusted, he left the country, moved to a Pacific island, ate a bunch of fish, and retired there, ate a bunch of olive oil. And we didn't get the results until about 5 years ago, when somebody literally tracked down Ansel Keys' research partner's grandson and found a bunch of boxes in the basement. They ran the data, and they found out 70 years ago the USDA, who paid for the study to sell U.S. agriculture, found out that we shouldn't be eating these seed oils. They're not healthy for us. And they covered up the data that long, and it led to the death of billions of people around the world.
It's crazy. It's because it costs so much to produce things the right way.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Anyways, we're going off on a wormhole. Let's move on a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your history with Dr. Gundry.
So a lot of people, if they're on Facebook, have probably seen Dr. Gundry's little infomercials, and he's all over social media. But I'm sure when you've been the leading cardiothoracic surgeon in the world, and you quit ripping out people's hearts to teach them how to reverse their heart disease, you got to make up your income somehow.
Sure.
So he's got great infomercials. He literally invented human heart transplants. I'm old enough to remember back, there was about a month where the evening news on all three of the three channels led off with Dr. Gundry, because his little heart transplant from a pig to a baboon was the one that lasted longer than anybody had ever been able to pull off. The cute little baboon is there in the hospital, and they show it. And so he went on to develop human heart transplants. He did more legally than anybody else on the planet. And he had a patient who rolled in with horrible heart disease, so much so that he needed a transplant, but he was so bad he wouldn't have ever lived through it. Gundry ultimately, did some extra studies on the guy, because he said, hey, I've made some changes. I feel pretty awesome. Can you, repeat my angiograms? And Dr. Gundry laughed and said, yeah, sure. The hospital loves it when I do really expensive, unnecessary testing. Because, dude, I'm sorry, but
bring in the machine that goes bing, and also the most expensive machine in the hospital.
Plugged arteries don't magically open up again. Okay, it doesn't happen. Turns out it does. The guy's arteries were clean. He didn't need to transplant. He was fine. So Gundry, to his credit, pays attention. He figures out a bunch of things the guy did, whittles it down to main thing is a lectin-free, what we'll call Mediterranean diet.
Okay.
And I'll explain that to patients in great detail. And again, we've got a diet coach that helps them with that. He ran that study for 12 years on 1,000 of his heart patients. He had been one of the previous presidents of the American Heart Association, left in disgust because he knows they're killing people left and right. Their diet is horrible. It's great to cause heart disease, but not to cure it. Same with the American Diabetic Association. Their diet is awesome to cause diabetes, not to reverse it. But he left there, and we have lots of studies, though. If you'd gone on the American Heart Association diet and, you got into the study by already having had a heart attack, in that age group over those 12 years, you would have expected to see 700 more heart attacks in those 1,000 people over a 12-year period. In Dr. Gundry's group, there weren't quite 700. There were 16. And I'm thinking
16?
In 12 years, somebody cheated a little bit. That's about 100% reversal of heart disease. Okay,
that's incredible.
So if you've got heart disease in your family, you need to come see us. We need to do the test to see your starting point, and then we need to get working on reversing your heart disease. And the honest truth is, if you grew up in America, I don't care if you're 12, you're already working on some atherosclerosis. That's just the way it is because of our diet. And so, but it is very reversible, very preventable, and that's been one of the really exciting things to see.
I got to figure out how to get my daughter eating salmon. Dad, gummit. See, I'm sitting here thinking, everything you're saying is everything my daughter eats, the pizzas, the McDonald's and all that. It's the only stuff, because my daughter's on the spectrum. She's very food averse. And it's been a years long struggle. For the last 7 years, we've dealt with her food aversion. And so I've been trying to get her to try new things. I don't think I've ever tried fish, but the more I think about the Mediterranean diet, I feel like
I got to jump in and say the problem is we've polluted our oceans. So you can't feed her fish more than once or twice a week, or she'll end up with mercury poisoning.
So what do we
can also
do
test for
now?
Let me pause and go back to what I should have said a little bit earlier. And one of the other things about functional medicine that's awesome is we take time to listen to people.
Right.
And, if you're one of those people that goes to the doctor with 12 or 15 complaints, the doctors are literally told to just mark you off as being crazy and give you a psych drug. Those are my favorite patients because they're not crazy. It's just that nobody understood what was causing all of the different symptoms.
Right.
And one of the beautiful things about the way we practice is our visits are at least 30 minutes set aside with the provider at least. We always are a little OCD and tell you to come in 15 minutes early so the nurse can get a hold of you for 15 before I see you, because I want every single minute with them I can get.
Sure.
And then honestly, our staff probably spent 20 minutes ahead of time prepping your chart, going over labs, getting everything put in. everybody's getting about an hour before it's all said and done. We can do a lot in an hour to make sure that we optimize people's health. And find out things like, I've started eating salmon 10 times a week because I wanted to be healthy, and stop that before we end up with mercury poisoning.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, the Mediterranean diet, I've heard you mention it a couple of times. It's one of the ones that I was kind of looking into after post-keto, because it felt like the most, versatile. Plus, I got to drink wine. I mean, there's benefits.
And that's where Dr. Gundry gets away with calling it a lectin-free Mediterranean diet. Because interestingly, when Ansel Keys is one of the first folks who wrote about that Mediterranean diet, he did a lot of dumb things. But he went to an island in the Mediterranean where the people were known to be healthy, and he studied them for a month. The problem was he didn't take into account that they had starved to death practically during World War II. And that tended to prolong their life a little bit, number one. There was a blockade, and they just didn't get much food delivered, so they ate lamb, and they grew their own vegetables, and they ate their cows, and they milked their sheep, and they got through just fine. Number one. Number two, he showed up during Lent. They were very observant. So they weren't eating any red meat the entire month, as it turns out. So he thought that they were healthy because they didn't eat red meat. Well, there were sheep all over the place. They clearly, and cows. They were eating red meat usually. And so he came up with his version of the Mediterranean diet. They didn't typically eat a lot of pasta. They lived on an island. They couldn't grow pasta, and wheat and such. And yet they were importing it just for Lent. So we got very confused about what this healthy Mediterranean diet was. If you remove the lectins, you remove a lot of those inflammatory foods. And yes, then at that point we can call it a lectin-free Mediterranean diet. It isn't going to be probably a bunch of wine and pasta. Part of the reason why maybe the wine becomes an issue is, man, when we do lab tests, we find that most people are on the way to cirrhosis. Scientists are saying by 2030, we're going to have an epidemic of cirrhosis in this country.
Really?
Not necessarily from alcohol, but because fructose goes through the same pathway as alcohol. Your juicy juice, you feed your kids, the sugared sodas are doing the exact same damage to your liver as the alcohol pretty much. A lot of folks wouldn't give their kid a six-pack of Bud to drink during the day, but they'll give them the equivalent in that of orange juice and apple juice and sodas by the time it's all over. And so when we are checking these 12-year-old kids, we're finding they're pre-diabetic and they're already on their way to cirrhosis. Now, if it's alcoholic cirrhosis, we call it that. That sounds, judgmental. If it's not from alcohol, it was just from a bunch of orange juice, and we call it non-alcoholic fatty steatorrhea. Doesn't sound nearly as, bad, but it's the exact same process. That's another reason, again, we want people getting checked, because we can catch that early, we can reverse all that, and just dramatically change the outcome.
Let's talk for a second about BioT. I hear it in the ads. I had to look it up to know how to pronounce it when I did the commercial. What is BioT exactly?
So it is a bioidentical hormone replacement. Now, when I first started medicine, I was supposed to give hormones to everybody, women. It's going to make them live longer, better bones, less heart attacks, less strokes. Oops. Turned out medicine was wrong. It killed hundreds of millions of people around the world, because in our arrogance, we think synthetics are better than natural things. So we developed a horrific synthetic called Prempro, and that Provera was a very, very bad lookalike molecule to a progesterone. We killed a lot of people. And if you go to most doctors or OB-GYNs and you say, I want hormone replacement, they're going to say, no, it's evil, it's going to kill you. And they're right, because the way they did it, the way we did it, it was evil, and it killed a lot of people. On the other hand, not all the Europeans bought into that. And so we have great studies out of Europe showing that the people who did the bioidentical hormones at real good levels ended up having way less heart attacks, less strokes, less Alzheimer's, better brain function, better muscle mass, better bone retention, less inflammation, better mood, better libido, just everything. You don't want to age poorly. You age a lot better if we can optimize your hormone levels. And so, there are two good ways to get bioidenticals. We're able to do both of those. BioT is definitely the Cadillac. It's a beautiful delivery system. You pick up a little bit with every heartbeat. And typically, people will come back and tell me, I haven't felt this good in 10, 20 years.
Really? So so you would recommend it to pretty much anybody who's dealing with inflammation, who's dealing with issues like that, or just anybody who's getting a little older?
Everybody needs to come and get their hormones checked. And a lot of people won't check the right hormones. You got to get that done right, especially on hormones, thyroid. Most physicians aren't going to check the right thyroid hormones. And You may be horrifically hypothyroid, really, and they're going to pat you on the head and say you're fine. It's all in your head. But
sure.
You get the hormones checked, and then we'll find out. I have a young man who's 20 years old. His testosterone level was 160. That's horrific. We find that men do the best between 900 and 1200. He felt terrible at 160. I had another young man who was so agoraphobic, he wouldn't leave the house. He was depressed. He was suicidal. His hormone level, his testosterone is about 150. When we put BioT pellets in him, it saved his life.
Absolutely.
His energy levels are up. His brain function is up. He's leaving the house. He's got a job. He's employed.
That's fantastic.
His life is not going to be another 50 years of living hell if he didn't commit suicide.
Right.
So life is too short to be tired. I fixed tired. Life is too short to be sad, anxious, any of that. We want to optimize people. We want them to enjoy life. And we have answers that I didn't have at my disposal more than 8 years ago.
This functional medicine thing sounded better and better the more I hear about it. Now you've been doing this for a long time, for 3-4 decades. I ask doctors this all the time because they always have the best stories. I say that I used to watch Scrubs, and doctors have the best stories. What's the craziest thing you've seen over the past 3 decades? We'll call it.
Wow, the craziest thing. I had no warning on that question. I think ultimately the craziest thing to me, I was young and naive. I thought I could trust everything they taught me in medical school. I could trust every lab test. There was a day in medical school where they looked at us and said, half of what we teach you is going to be wrong. We're just not sure which half.
Right.
And for the next 20 years, I didn't really think that turned out to be true. And then all of a sudden I found out, oh my goodness, it is true. And if your doctor hasn't figured out which half was wrong, heaven help us.
Sure.
For an example, everybody's told high cholesterol is bad.
Right.
In the patients I'm, really worrying about cholesterol, that's an absolute lie. Your doctor should know that's a lie. If you're a woman over 55 or a man over 65, every major study has always shown that the higher the cholesterol level, the longer you live. If we're talking total cholesterol. If you want to press your doctor, tell them, well, according to Framingham and the Women's Health Initiative study, I'm told that a high total cholesterol actually will make me live longer, assuming you're in that age group. See what they say. If they don't know that, you got a problem. Then doctors like to say, oh, it's the LDL, that's the bad cholesterol.
Right.
I don't know that we don't have time to go into why that's not necessarily true, but it's horrifically not true a lot of the time.
Sure.
And in fact, we can do studies on comparing a 70-year-old to a 70-year-old, and I'll tell you that the ones with the higher LDL count in all the studies end up living longer. So there are drivers behind some of the things that happen that get doctors confused. There's also a lot of money to be made by putting everybody on a statin drug. And statins can be helpful at certain times, not saying they're not, but that isn't the cure. We've got to figure out what was that trigger that led you down that path, and then we can reverse that.
You can't just, it's not just as simple as, take this and call me in the morning. It's let's figure out what got us to this point in the first place, and then we can start unraveling the ball of knots.
Absolutely. Real life change takes work. That's why I love that I get to spend 30 to 60 minutes with people. We will go over everything. The longer they talk, the more hints they give me. Usually, if there's something that's not fixed yet, it's multifactorial. But humans they always like to go for the easy cure.
We're trained to think, okay, there's one root cause to everything, but it could be 16 or 17 different things that need to be addressed.
Yeah, and so you want your doctor to kind of wish he'd become a detective. But I'm pretty sure their life's kind of boring in the end, so it's more fun for me to do this.
We're running a little tight on time, but I did hear you mention something about 15 minutes ago that my brain said, we're going to put a pin in that. Y'all have a hyperbaric chamber.
We do.
In-house.
It's awesome.
That's insane. That's no, I shouldn't say insane. That's amazing.
So I had listened to lots of people talk about hyperbaric chambers. Sounded awesome. My wife for my birthday gave me a pass to go get in one. I got in it. I'd had shoulder pain for 9 months that nothing would fix. There wasn't enough ibuprofen in the world to fix it. And I had done everything. I get in the chamber, and at about 30 minutes, I'm lying there on my back, cursing myself, saying, you are such a little weenie. You can't even lie on your back without being in pain. And at 45 minutes, I was like, wait a minute, my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. And the next day I went to the gym, and I was able to lift 90% of what I could with my good shoulder with the bad one. And it stayed that way. I was pretty impressive recovery. Then about 4 weeks later, I got the stomach flu. One was really bad. And when all the employees in the office got it, they were out for 5 days. Well, on hour number 2, I'm like, I'm going to that hyperbaric chamber. So I went, paid for another trip in the chamber, got out, and I was better within 2 hours. And the other 10% of the shoulder injury had fixed itself. And so I'm like, then I went to the owner of the clinic, the CEO, and I'm like, we are so buying a hyperbaric chamber.
So what do they, I mean, I know a regional tower. What is it exactly happens when you get in one?
So you get in one, you breathe pure oxygen. We take the pressure slowly up to 1.5 atmospheres.
Sure.
So you're breathing 100% oxygen at higher pressure. That drives more oxygen into your interstitial tissues.
Your bloodstream.
Which, a couple of years ago, some silly little report came out saying, scientists just discovered the new organ in your body, and it's the largest organ in your body. I'm like, really, what? Well, we're talking about your interstitial tissue because a ton of metabolic functions happen in there. That's where a lot of your antioxidants are going to be doing their thing. And
sure.
And so when we can increase the oxygen level in there for brief periods of time, we can lengthen telomeres, we can improve brain function, we can bring people back with dietary changes a good 3 years into Alzheimer's. I mean, we'll get them 3 years of function back if they eat right. And we move their brain into burning ketones. But once it's real bad, I'll have folks who can no longer drive themselves to the clinic. And after the third visit in the hyperbaric chamber, they're driving themselves to the clinic again. They're not getting lost when they go places. It's not going to be a cure for Alzheimer's, sure. But if we can slow down that decline, that's valuable.
That's amazing. Well, we got to wrap up, Doctor, but just a fascinating conversation. If folks want to learn more about your practice, about Roswell Medical Clinic, how do they find you?
Just call 623-3311.
There you go, 623-3311.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
We will love seeing them.
Absolutely. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for your time and for all the amazing information as well. Absolutely, it was awesome. 6 minutes away from 8 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with some local news.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A local teenager arrested and charged with multiple criminal counts in connection with the Sunday evening shooting of a store manager. The store manager fought with the teen after seeing him in the process of shoplifting gun ammunition. 16-year-old Jeremiah Martinez is accused of using the gun he concealed in his pants to shoot the manager of the Big R store in the 1300 block of South Main Street in Roswell. The store owner is in stable condition at a hospital today. A former New Mexico police officer charged with murder in a man's death during a 2020 struggle with officers did not properly use a chokehold that gradually ended the man's life. That's according to a prosecutor who told jurors Monday in the opening statements at the ex-officer's trial. Las Cruces police officer Christopher Smelzer had told investigators he had difficulty in applying the lateral vascular neck restraint on Antonio Valenzuela because the man kept tucking his chin. But he eventually did carry out the maneuver by sliding his arm under Valenzuela's chin when he lifted his head. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
You may have noticed that those irritating car warranty robocalls have suddenly stopped. Here's why. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. For a while, I was receiving 3 or 4 car warranty robocalls every day. All claimed that my car warranty was about to expire. It wasn't, by the way. The calls, 8 billion of them a year, were actually coming from a Panama-based company owned by 2 characters, Roy Cox and Aaron Michael Jones. Initially, the calls couldn't be stopped because Panama is outside the Federal Communication Commission's jurisdiction. It took some time, but the FCC found another way. Late last week, the commission ordered all telephone companies, whether wired or cellular, to immediately stop delivering the calls to your phone. Creative legal maneuvering, for which we are all appreciative. Hey, get my daily longer podcast, perfect for walks and commutes. It's called Kim Commando Today. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of all online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? What about the idea that a single company controls 90% of internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is powerful, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and those tech juggernauts. When you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, making your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts all your internet data to keep you safe from hackers without slowing your connection. Just download the app on your phone or computer Tap one button and you're protected. Go to expressvpn.com/Kim to get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Kim to get 3 extra months for free. That address again, expressvpn.com/Kim.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Frontier Airlines, facing likely defeat in its bid to merge with Spirit Airlines, says it is done with a bidding war and is asking for another delay in a shareholder vote on the deal. The Frontier CEO said in a letter made public Monday that his airline is very far from winning approval by Spirit shareholders, who are weighing a higher price buyout offer from JetBlue Airways. A shareholder vote at Spirit, already postponed 3 times, is scheduled for Friday. A major natural gas pipeline from Russia to Western Europe shut down Monday for annual maintenance as Germany prepared to give the green light for 10 coal-fired power plants to restart because of concerns that Russia may not resume the flow of gas as scheduled. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline runs under the Baltic Sea from Russia and is Germany's main source of Russian gas. Gas is usually sent onward to other countries as well. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Your ride is broke, needs a fix? Come on down, we'll take care of it quick at Big O. Big O Tires. Whatever the problem, we'll ease your fears. We got experience, nearly 60 years at Big O. Big O Tires.
With nearly 60 years of experience and high customer ratings, you can always count on your local Big O Tires to give you quality products and trustworthy service, all for a low price. From July 11th through July 31st, save between $70 and $100 instantly on select sets of Bridgestone and Firestone tires with installation purchase. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation charges extra. Required on all 4 tires. Not valid with other offers. Eligibility may vary. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35 where permitted. See store for details.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
Visit to Iran next week. He'll meet there with Iranian officials as well as with the president of Turkey. On Wall Street, stocks have turned negative now. The Dow is down 1 point, the Nasdaq off 70, and the S&P 13 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Inflation is soaring. Prices are going up everywhere except Legacy Box. That's right. When our number people wanted us to raise prices, we said heck no. That's un-American. When times get tough, Legacy Box stands strong. Introducing the Legacy Box Inflation Busters sale. Not $15 a tape, not $12, $9. Yes, just $9 a videotape. We're in a race to save your family's recorded past from the risks of fires, natural disasters, and the decay of time. Don't let this summer's heat age your videotapes, film reels, and fade your photos. Legacy Box saves your memories by professionally converting all your analog formats to digital on thumb drive or the cloud. and it's all done here in the USA. Legacy Box is simple and safe with over 1 million satisfied customers. For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/lbox to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/lbox to get our $9 offer. legacybox.com/lbox.
The killing of a woman at an annual political event in Sweden earlier this month, now the subject of a terrorism investigation.
Sweden's domestic security agency says the 32-year-old man who is in custody on suspicion of the July 6 stabbing is now suspected of terrorist crimes through murder, and the agency has taken over the investigation. Swedish broadcaster SVT has been reporting the suspect has links to a neo-Nazi group. The victim, a medical doctor and psychiatric coordinator for Sweden's municipalities and regions, was killed during an annual event in Visby, the main town of the island of Gotland. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A Russian ammunition storage depot is apparently targeted by Ukrainian forces overnight, resulting in a massive explosion. It was captured on social media. News and analysis, townhall.com. We are getting a new unprecedented look at the final frontier, expanding our view of the universe.
The first image from the $10 billion James Webb Space Telescope is going to show the farthest humanity has ever seen in both time and distance. That image will be followed by the release of 4 more galactic beauty shots from the telescope's initial outward gazes. The images released Tuesday include a view of a giant gaseous planet outside our solar system, 2 images of a nebula where stars are born and die, and an update of a classic image of 5 tightly clustered galaxies that dance around each other. The world's biggest and most powerful space telescope reached its lookout point of 1 million miles from Earth in January. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Japan's finance minister have agreed to cooperate in dealing with the challenges posed by the war in Ukraine and promoting free trade, sustainable energy, and food security. More on these stories at townhall.com.
How do you make the most of your land? Shaw does it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1025R compact tractor, as he does everything to make
my yard look as beautiful as I possibly can.
But the Hubbards use their 1025R because
we really are trying to create this homestead.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours? Nothing runs like a Deere.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The traveler said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Phew. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce.
Of A Morning Without Mike Winters. And of course, on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. But of course, on A Morning Without Mike Winters, everything goes all haywire. It always does. Oh, it always does. But that's okay, because Mixmaster Mike Winters will be back where he belongs, inside the captain's chair, tomorrow morning to regale us with the stories of his weekend of shenanigans in the cool pines of Ruidoso.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been. Granted, it could. It just, Now, granted, it was a great interview with Dr. Andrews last hour. Just went a little long, and I was trying to fit it all in the back half of the hour, and things just went a little haywire, and the computer just didn't know what to do. But we made it through. We're here together. That's what matters. These are strange times that we find ourselves in. Isn't that what we're supposed to say after things like that happen? This is new and interesting times that we find ourselves in.
Something like that.
Remember, right when COVID hit, everybody was like, "We're living through new and interesting times." I'm like, stop saying that. They're not new. They're not really that exciting. It's the same old nonsense. It's just packaged in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're gonna breathe. We're going to move on.
We're in the new normal right now.
That's right. This is the new normal. Hopefully your Tuesday is off to a better start than ours is. Finally finished the proper of season 4 of Stranger Things. Didn't do the last episode because there's still and I was all happy because I was like, okay, I got to the end of the season, and I thought that there was going to be a whole other season of episodes as the part 2. Part 2 is just basically a movie. It's 2.5 hours long. And I got to it at 9 p.m. last night. I'm like, I can't do this. To do morning radio. So I still have that last episode piggyback. Still sitting there waiting. But I got to tell you.
Yeah.
The Duffer Brothers. Are you watching Stranger Things?
No. Is it weekly or was that released all at once?
They were all put out at once. It's on Netflix. Have you watched any of them at all?
I've only watched the first episode of season 1.
You really, really should get into it. Just because I feel like this is, for someone like...
I heard season 4 got good.
It's so good. For someone like, you and me that kind of lives in that mindset of, just dudes being nerds, it's very much in that vein. But the Duffer Brothers have this amazing way to take cultural standards of the 80s and remake them. We saw it this last season with Kate Bush. The song Running Up the Hill, was from the 80s, and that song was top of the Billboard charts for 3 weeks a month ago. That's insane. And it's a great song, too. But I saw it again last night. I'm not going to go into any spoilers or anything, but the last episode before the epic movie thing, they use a version of Journey's Separate Ways.
Okay.
Which is already an epic song to begin with. But the way they use this song, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's like, here we stand, open hearts. I don't know the words, but it's the way they hit it and with the kind of, and just the sound behind it, it's so good. I feel like...
Well, they had orchestra stuff, I bet, right?
Yeah. Well, it's orchestral, but they use the actual cut of the Journey song.
Yeah.
But I've never heard the song "Separate Ways" by Journey and been so inspired my entire life. I'm like, it was Eye of the Tiger from Rocky levels.
Really? Not even during the scene in Yes Man?
No, dude, that was pretty good too.
Or Tron.
I'd need to find that. Hopefully, by next hour I can find it so we can maybe play it in the 9 o'clock hour. Just that clip. Clip for just the Journey clip, because it was so...
I know Tron Legacy did that
and
song
I think
too.
Part of it is, again, it was the lighting of the scene. It was everything was red. It was chilling. They were gearing up for this epic battle, and it was I'm so excited.
Now you know what it's like to watch anime.
No. I still don't. I tried anime, dude. It never appealed to me. There's one anime that I ever liked, and it wasn't even a series. It was just a movie called Grave of the Fireflies. And I only like it because it's devastating and it made me cry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because it made me feel things. Sometimes I just need to feel things. So let me give you the rundown for this hour. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be sitting down chatting with Colonel Jose Barro, from the athletic director from New Mexico Military Institute. We chat with him about all the goings on there at the Institute. Big exciting news with the relaunch of the armory there. Beautiful facility. And if you haven't seen it, go over to the 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM Facebook page, and it's there for you to check out as well. It's just a beautiful facility. Although I have to ask him, at least from what I could see in the pictures, not one firearm.
Really?
You think an armory?
In an armory?
Yeah, you think an armory, there's going to be some guns, right?
At least some body armor.
It's a basketball court. Yeah, or some armor. a helmet or two. I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive to things, but yeah, we'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes. Plus, of course, your hourly features, your town hall business update, and whatever else comes our way. Want to take a quick second to tell you that the ENMU Roswell pool is officially open for summer 2022, and it's open 7 days a week, from 10 to 11 every day for lap swimming, then from 11 to 5 for open swim. It's just $5 for the whole day. Once you pay, you can stay all day long. They got full concession stand too, plus lots of covered seating and more. Summer passes are available, and ENMUR students, you get in for half off. Book the pool for your next party or get together and run the pool from 6 to 10 p.m. For information and reservations, call 575-624-7305. That's 575-624-7305. All right, 13 minutes after 8 o'clock, let's pause and get you up to date with some weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 77 degrees around Roswell. Humidity at 54% with winds out of the north at around 10 miles an hour. For today, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, 99 for the high today. Winds going to be out of the north 15 to 20 miles an hour, becoming east 10 to 15 later in the afternoon. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, getting down to an overnight low of 71 degrees. Winds out of the east 5 to 15, becoming north after midnight. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny, and it's going to be hot. High of around 99 degrees. Winds out of the north 5 to 10, becoming southeast later in the afternoon. And for Wednesday night, partly cloudy, getting down to 74 degrees. Winds southbound, out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. Thursday, sunny, hot, 102 for the high, back up to 100 for the high on Friday. And as we head into the weekend, well, what do you want from me, folks? It's summertime in Roswell. 103 under mostly sunny skies, and it's going to continue to be hot. A little reprieve from the heat for one day, partly sunny, and 95 for the high on Sunday. But we're back up to triple digits, 101 for the expected high on Monday. 15 minutes after 8 o'clock on this here Tuesday. Going to pause, pay a couple of these bills. And after these, we're sitting down talking with Colonel Borrow from New Mexico Military Institute on the other side of this break on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
How do you make the most of your land? Shaw does it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1025R compact tractor, as he does everything to make
my yard look as beautiful as I possibly can.
But the Hubbards use their 1025R because
we really are trying to create this homestead.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours? Nothing runs like a Deere.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin & Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin & Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin & Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 8 o'clock on your Tuesday morning, A Morning Without Mike Winters. And joining us in studio this morning is Colonel Jose Barro from the Athletic Director from New Mexico Military Institute. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing real good, doing good. So busy time, summertime, obviously. The prepping is on for the upcoming season. And you guys have undergone some amazing changes there at the Institute. Tell us a little about how summer's been for you guys.
Well, it's been a busy summer in a lot of ways. Obviously, our teams, our college teams, are out in the recruiting trail trying to get reload those teams we had last year. So that's priority number one, is to get our new cadet athletes in. And of course, we've been working on this project, the renovation of Cahoon Armory.
Yes.
And it's taken up until now to really get obviously ready to move in and to have the grand opening. So that's consumed most of our summer.
Sure, and that's an absolutely beautiful facility, just from some of the pictures that we've seen. Let's talk for a little bit about the renovation of the armory. What all went into that? What started that process?
Well, honestly, that's a long time coming as far as that's concerned. The project initially was planned for a little over 10 years ago. It was on the GEO bond cycle that failed. Can't remember the exact year, but it's been a little over 10 years.
Sure.
So that's when the Cahoon Armory renovation was very first going to happen. Obviously, when the GEO bond vote failed that year, we had to kind of put it on the back burner,
right,
and did a few other things that were of higher priority to the Institute. But we were able to get GEO bond money about 4 or 5 years ago, and that started this process.
Okay.
As everything else, I think I might have heard you talking about something called COVID a little while ago. And,
something about, yeah.
Yeah, so
that nasty C word.
And I don't know about whether it's exciting or new. It certainly wasn't either of both of those,
right,
as you mentioned. But that really hit us hard with this project. We should have been in this building about 2 years ago, and our general contractor, Wade Construction, did a great job trying to just fill in the gaps. Things would happen along the way. Crews would go down. Stuff would be stuck on ships off the coast of California. Everything you can imagine. That our elevator was lost for several months. I mean, just the gamut of things. But we are now. All these months later, I believe we were going to move into there the summer of 20.
Right.
So that's the scope of time we've had to wait to get to where we are right now. But we put $20 million into that building. Wow. Some of it GEO bond money, some of it money from the Institute.
Sure.
And when you get to see it tomorrow for the grand reopening, you're going to be amazed. It's a modern building, a building that is worthy of our athletes and our programs, and I think people are going to love it.
An absolutely beautiful facility, state of the art. Like I said, $20 million went into this facility, and I know that right now it's still super shiny and new, but like just some of the pictures, it has that like almost new car smell to it. Just looking at the pictures we have on the 106.5 Facebook page, just some of the pictures from I guess I don't know if it's the press box or maybe one of the VIP boxes.
It's probably the VIP room on the what is the south end of the gym.
Sure.
So it's a room that overlooks the entire gym, so you can sit up there, kind of have a little bit mini function going on while there's a game going on or something else in there, and have a little bit of intimacy with the group, and then still be in the setting of having a big game going on around you.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's got that big city feel to it, and that's earned too because the program that you guys have at New Mexico Military Institute is top notch. It's one of the best in the state. I mean, it's as far as like your different sports programs and the coaching staff that oversees them. It's second to none. It's absolutely amazing.
So we have a great staff. I mean, and as you know, we've got two different programs, and you're right. As far as the high school program is concerned, we compete in the state and we do very well. We're a 3A school, kind of middle of the road for New Mexico athletics, but. As far as our college programs, we compete nationally, and obviously we won the national championship in football last year, runner-ups in volleyball, had a great run in basketball. So our teams are known regionally and are coming to be known nationally.
Absolutely, yeah. It's you guys are on a lot of lips, so to speak, yes. a lot of nationwide programs. So as we head into season 22/23, what are some of your goals for the upcoming year?
Well, obviously, we want to get situated into this new building, and it'll fit like a glove. We've got to work out some of the kinks. Anytime you move into a new facility, there are some things you've got to work out, but that'll be done before cadets even get here. The first cadets begin to arrive the week of the 20th, and then the first athletes that are not part of the cadre program will arrive a week later on the 28th, 29th.
Okay.
And really, the goals are to get everybody situated into their new environment. When you're a junior college, it's every other year. It's a whole new group of cadets that come in. So we've got to get them acclimated and ready for class. The number one goal of that school, we're an educational institution, so we've got to get them ready for class and get them in the right classes and started and move it in the right direction so that their grades hold up. At the high school level, it's a little bit different. We often don't know who's going to show up for a team until the day they show up.
Sure.
And this year, the large part of the high school student body will come in August 5th and 6th, I believe it is. I know the commandant's going to get me if I got that date wrong. But those high school students, then we'll sort out what we have. We have a few coming back, and we'll divide them up into the teams they're going to be on. That's where our coaches do an amazing job at the high school level. Imagine having no summer program whatsoever, and all of a sudden they all show up one day, and you've got to sort out what you've got and ready to play in a couple of weeks.
And that's astonishing to me because, I come from the high school system of, 2-a-days starting in July and just basically beating the will to live out of your players for a month in the summer heat before school even starts. And so you guys have to hit the ground, right away running.
Right.
No pressure.
It's amazing what our coaches can accomplish in a short period of time. Coach Randy Montoya, who's a associate athletic director, in addition to being the head football coach for the high school, he's done an amazing job with that program. He's taken us to the playoffs several times. He's and again, starting day one with an unknown staff. The other thing that happens even at the junior college level, a lot of programs have programs in summer school. We do not. So even then, we're a little bit behind the curve.
Sure.
Although we know who's coming and we mail them off their summer workouts, it's not until that first day when they're here that they got to hit their nose to the grindstone and getting going.
How much of what goes into getting the college teams together? How much scouting occurs? Because I know with high school you got players coming in, you kind of hone their craft, and you kind of build the player you want. I'm just curious how much of the college team involves getting out there and seeing what else there is to offer.
Well, scouting is a lot different than when you and I were playing ball even a few years ago. It's highly digital. So we subscribe to these online services that will feed you films. Huddle is one of the bigger ones that's out there. The kids will upload their film on these sites, and our coaches will look through that. And we use that extensively for all of our sports. When we recruit international, which we do, we have kids from all over the place, Canada, Europe, and whatnot.
Right.
We can't go to all these countries, obviously, physically and recruit. So we rely on film, and we rely on other coaches to give us their opinions on the athletes and what their potentials are. And then, our coaches have to do a lot of homework, study a lot of film, interview these potential candidates to make sure they're a right fit for our program. Just because they're a great football player or volleyball player does not mean that they may fit in our program. So our coaches do a lot of homework, interviewing these folks, interviewing their coaches, interviewing their parents to make sure that they're what we need and we're what they need. It's got to be a mutual benefit to both parties, to the athlete and to the school.
Absolutely, and that's something that it's a hard sell. When you're saying, okay, we want you, but we want you for a military institute. But there's also a lot more. There's a lot more benefits in the back end for playing for such a prestigious institute.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings a lot of intangibles that these cadets pick up as they go through school here, and they keep with them. It's amazing to see the transformation that some of them make from day one to the end of a year and a half or 2 years, however long. At the junior college level, if they're good enough, they could be gone after one season.
Yeah.
But we really try to focus on selling that as a positive. Some of the folks that we recruit against at the college level will try to turn it into a negative, but really try to focus and change it into a positive. The structure they learn, the study habits, even the soft skills. Like I like to tell a story. We had a player that was highly recruited out of to play at Missouri several years ago, about 6-7 years ago. Went on an official visit to Missouri, and comes back. Was so excited because he was invited to a very formal dinner, and the etiquette classes that teaches the institute. He knew which fork to use, nice. And how to act. And he shared with one of the faculty members that he was a little embarrassed for the other guys that were there, just kind of flopping around, and he knew exactly what he had to do, how he had to do it, just from something so small as an etiquette dinner. And every cadet has two a year, so those little things that they pick up along the way, along with the discipline instruction.
Yeah. You can go off to some 4-year and learn how to do a keg stand, or you can come to New Mexico Military Institute and learn proper etiquette, learn what your finger bowl and your water glass are,
Right, exactly.
Stuff like that. That's an awesome story. So obviously gearing up for the grand opening that's happening tomorrow.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, public is invited to attend. Come and check it out. 10 o'clock, we're going to have a ribbon cutting with the red coats and whatnot assembled at the front of the building, which is on the north side. And after the ribbon cutting, we'll all kind of mosey into the gym. General Grizzle, the superintendent president of the school, will say a few words. There'll be some refreshments for those of you that like that kind of stuff. And We will also be providing tours of the building. Now, this will be, I guess, as an added benefit, if you want to call it that. This will be one of the very few times that the public will actually be allowed to go into some of those team areas.
Right.
Once we occupy those will become off limits. But for now, they're not really occupied yet. So there'll be a very in-depth tour of what the facility looks like and what we have done for the benefit of our cadets.
So what you're telling me is, this is my opportunity to get into a women's locker room. Just so we're clear, I'm just making sure
there will be tours of all of the locker rooms. So if yes,
the unoccupied women's locker room,
absolutely
right?
Unoccupied.
Yeah, it's a caveat. We don't have to tell them it was unoccupied. I get to say that I was in the women's locker room just for a second, just to be a little skeezy. But yeah, come on out, folks. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. It's an absolutely gorgeous facility, and if you haven't already done so, head over to the 106.5 Roswell Talk FM page. Just a few pictures there, and that's just a little taste of what they have to offer, because it's a state-of-the-art facility. It's absolutely amazing. Great internet from what I've been hearing.
The best on campus.
Yeah. So that's highly necessary in the world of sportscasting. So hopefully we're going to be able to check the place out tomorrow as well. Any other thoughts for the upcoming season?
No, obviously we had a tremendous year last year in many regards, and our goal is to, as they say, reload and continue.
Right.
Moving forward, we are excited about the teams coming in. I've talked to all of our coaches, and we've got some good teams coming in all around the board for the college. And the high school, we've got to wait a little longer and see what the surprise is. But we know we have some good cores to the teams that are coming back to just kind of fill in with the new cadets. Excited about this upcoming year, excited about the new building. Our staff has done a tremendous job in preparing. The campus has helped so much. The guys in IT have been in there installing all the, I don't even know what to call it, the new IP addresses or whatever it is that they do. I say that in jest. They do some tremendous work for us. Facilities folks have been keeping that building ready to go. I mean, that campus is excited about the building. We're very grateful for all the internal folks, and again for Mr. Wade at Wade Construction did a fantastic job for us in spite of all the punches he and we kept having to undergo. But please come out and join us tomorrow. It'll be a fun time, exciting time, and I think you're going to be impressed with what we brought to Roswell.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things about the Institute in general is just it's such a fascinating campus because there's so much history, and you look at some of the hundreds of year old facilities and structures, and it's juxtaposed with this brand new $20 million state of the art structure. I mean, it's the best of everything. It really is. So, folks, come on out tomorrow, check out the facility, and let's give the Institute the back pats that they deserve, because this is an awesome time for the Institute, and I wish you guys a whole lot of luck in the upcoming season.
Thank you so much.
It's going to be good, and I'm ready for the ride. I like the reload and continue.
There you go.
Let's make it happen. 8:30 on your Tuesday morning. Let's get you up to date with some local news.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A local teenager arrested and charged with multiple criminal counts in connection with the Sunday evening shooting of a store manager. The store manager fought with the teen after seeing him in the process of shoplifting gun ammunition. 16-year-old Jeremiah Martinez is accused of using the gun he concealed in his pants to shoot the manager of the Big R store in the 1300 block of South Main Street in Roswell. The store owner is in stable condition at a hospital today. A former New Mexico police officer charged with murder in a man's death during a 2020 struggle with officers did not properly use a chokehold that gradually ended the man's life. That's according to a prosecutor who told jurors Monday in the opening statements at the ex-officer's trial. Las Cruces police officer Christopher Smelzer had told investigators he had difficulty in applying the lateral vascular neck restraint on Antonio Valenzuela because the man kept tucking his chin. But he eventually did carry out the maneuver by sliding his arm under Valenzuela's chin when he lifted his head. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 32 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Wanted to take a real quick second, if I may, to tell you about my friends. If I had the live read handy, where did it go? Give me a second here. Bear with me, folks. A thing called live radio, flying by the seat of our pants. There it is. Right in front of me. Are you ready, Roy? Are you ready for the ultimate Wi-Fi experience?
Oh, I thought you were going to set up a DX joke.
Oh, for the thousands. No, if you're ready for the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, Plateau has got that for you with their smart home Wi-Fi. We're talking fiber to the home technology that's 100 times faster than the average household internet speed. You can get fast, which is 100 meg true upload and download, faster, which is true 500 meg, or the fastest, which is 16 gig up and down. You can expand your home Wi-Fi coverage with Plateau's smart home Wi-Fi. Thought I heard the phone. It's not the phone. And find the plan that fits your family the best. To get the speed you need with Plateau, find out more by going to plateaufiber.com. That's plateaufiber.com. Plateau, tried, true, trusted.
I was not ready for that.
Were you not? I did, in fairness, I did warn you. I did tell you that it was coming. So if you weren't ready for it, I feel like that's on you. 33 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's take a quick pause and...
I was going to ask you about Stranger Things a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, by all means.
I don't get that show very much. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what it is about, other than girl with mind powers and I guess monsters.
That's why you kind of have to dive in a little bit. Is
all I see is like 80s references in the marketing.
That's part of it, because if you look at if I think a big part of the enjoyment of the series, for me at least, is that I lived through a portion of the 80s. So like I had some of those. I wasn't quite their age in the 80s, but I had those experiences of, going outside playing and stuff like that. Some of the cultural references, sure, those are fascinating, but also they kind of capture the feeling of what it was like to be in the 80s. Like I talked about it yesterday. This season, they already have dealt with the Cold War, which was raging at the time. I think they're like 87 at this point, 87 or 88. So the Cold War was raging. Our issues with Russia and the Soviet Union and how our paranoia with that. But coupled with that, and like I was telling Tanner yesterday, you're a little too young to remember this, but in the 80s, we went through this period that they call satanic panic.
Yeah, I know about
You've
it.
heard about it? Okay, so
I've heard about it.
So satanic panic was a big thing back in the 80s. Everybody was looking at stuff like...
That bled into the 90s a little bit with Pokemon.
It really did a little bit, but everybody was like villainizing and vilifying D&D. And that's one of the biggest draw-ins for me in episode 1 of the first season was it's just a group of kids downstairs playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm like,
Right.
I can relate to this. This is something that appeals to me. Then they're out riding their bikes, but then that's when things start getting weird. It's like our paranoia in the 80s was at this all-time high. We were afraid of satanic cults. We were afraid of demonic possessions. Everything was being sensationalized on, Donahue and on talk shows and stuff like that. We were seeing basically the worst of society, and then couple that with we're also in the potentially looking down the barrel of a nuclear wartime situation with Russia. We never knew what was going to happen at that point. So it was just like ultimate paranoia. And the Duffer Brothers, the ones who create Stranger Things, they have this uncanny ability to not only capture the time, the cultural references, but also like the mindset, the mentality, and the way it felt to live through that time. It's very similar to like, I would liken that kind of feeling to like, maybe not exactly the same one-to-one, but like similar to what it was like right after 9/11.
Okay.
If you remember kind of that weird, like right after 9/11, like that weird paranoia of what's going to happen next. Who's looking over your shoulder constantly, just constant paranoia. That's sort of that gut feeling that a lot of us got from living through the late 80s.
Yeah, this is probably just me, but even I didn't have that. I'm like 28, and I still didn't have that.
Because
I was
you
like
would have been
seven or something.
7 or 8.
And I just didn't. I didn't even know anything happened.
You were born in 1994?
93.
93. Okay.
Yeah, and they all told us to go to the pole and just stand there, and I was like, "Yay, America!" It's like
you were in school.
Yeah.
I mean,
like in elementary school,
right?
Second grade.
Well, yeah, that's right. School was in session at that point. Oh gosh, now we're gonna move the conversation to where were you? I remember I had stayed home that day because my grandma was coming into town. I think that's why I was home.
Okay.
My mom basically used any excuse to not have to shirk on her responsibilities of taking me to school. But I was home that day because I remember seeing it on our TV, our living room TV first, and then we went to meet my grandma for breakfast because she was driving in, and we were sitting in the car listening to the news on the radio talking about it. It was basically just playing a news feed. So anyways, that's a weird place to bring that conversation. But yeah,
that reminds me of like this specific broadcast where someone sees it going down right there live, and he has the most calm voice about it. Like he doesn't respond at all.
Well, the point of the conversation though is that sort of that
social
sense
dissonance.
that sense of like just impending doom. The Duffer Brothers really captured what it was like to live in the 80s, and also kind of that time post 9/11 was what I was getting at. But
yeah, because I love 80s stuff, even though I was never born in it.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I would never know what it was like to actually be there.
Right. But that's kind of the cool thing about Stranger Things is not only you can enjoy the references, you can enjoy the characters, but the personalities of the people behind it, so like, you start to kind of latch on to. So yeah, Eleven's cool, she's got her powers and stuff, but Steve is this like amazing like caregiver. People say that Steve Harrington is like the ultimate mother because he like takes care of the boys in the series. Lucas has sort of become like the unsung hero of this last season. And Max is really.
I keep hearing about Steve a lot.
Yeah, Steve. Well, yeah, Steve is he's just awesome.
And like I don't know, maybe like everyone keeps saying there's a missed opportunity somewhere with him, or I don't know.
They could have maybe made him a bigger character, but I think it's the third season, you start seeing a real chemistry between him and Dustin, who's Gaten Matarazzo. They're two characters. They just like bonded, and pretty soon it was sort of like you were listening to the story, and then for a quick, breath of fresh air because it's getting dark over here. Let's jump over and see what Steve and Dustin are up to. Just kind of like get a little giggle for a second, then get back to the serious stuff. That was always kind of a cool part of that series. But yeah, I absolutely recommend Stranger Things. The cool thing is now that it's coming to an end, you can kind of binge the whole thing and consume.
Yeah, no, I watched a review of season 4, and all the characters are doing their own little B stories, C stories, and
it's weird how split up the cast is this season because everybody kind of went to the 4 winds, went their separate ways, but it works.
Apparently, a guy's in Russia now.
Oh yeah,
and that's like
spoiler alert. Yeah, Hopper's locked up in Russia.
Oh, that was part of the trailer.
Yeah, that's true. It was.
But like, how do you get from how did that happen? Right? How did you get from wherever they are to
watch
Russia?
The series? I mean, it's a real progression. Things get more and more heated as you go because you see the monster from the first season, like the Demogorgon, and you sit there. I know that's a D&D thing, but you sit there and you see it and think, what could possibly be more terrifying than this? And then you realize, in the second season, the Demogorgon looks like a chump compared to what's waiting in season 2. And then it just gets progressively worse to the point where the enemy in this new season, Vecna, as you kind of like learn the backstory of who Vecna actually is, and it's real dark.
Okay.
It's like the closest thing I've had watching it last night. I had moments where I'm like, I need to stop watching this because I'm going to have nightmares. I don't do good with horror movies or that genre, but it's real close to bordering on just psychological terror.
Right,
it's like the Stephen King stuff from back in the day.
Right.
I fully recommend it. It's a real good watch.
Do any of the characters feel like they have plot armor, like they can't die sometimes, or?
I've sort of like made that joke because I'm watching it by myself, but I've made that joke to myself that, they're a main character. They can't die. Right. So whatever situation they're going into, they're going to be fine because they're a main character. But that's the thing. They're not afraid to knock off mains. And they've already said characters some will not make it to the end. They've came out and made that statement. So a lot of people are like, I wonder who. But they're not afraid to take out a main or two if it's going to advance the plot, which I respect unendingly. That was a Vince Gilligan thing. He would, your mindset is you don't ever want to take out your main characters, but Vince Gilligan, if it push the story further, he'd pop his second. He'd take out, he'd take out Jesse. He'd take out if it served the story well. But you gotta know when to write characters off, and that's one thing that they absolutely excel at.
Yep. Gotta know when to write characters off.
That's right. Gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them. 18 away from 9 o'clock. Let's pause real quick and get you up to date with some local weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently looking at 77 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity at 54%. Winds kicking up a little bit out of the north at about 10 miles an hour. For tonight, for today, looking at a high of around 99 degrees, mostly sunny skies. The good news is we're not in triple-digit territory quite totally, but we're dancing pretty close to the edge of the cliff, if you ask me. For tonight, partly cloudy, dropping down to 71 for the overnight low. For Wednesday, mostly sunny and hot. 99 for the high for your Wednesday night, partly cloudy, getting down to 74 degrees for the overnight low. Back up to triples on Thursday, 102 for the high under mostly sunny skies on your Thursday. Thursday night, 73 for Friday, 100 degrees, partly cloudy, and 74 for your Friday night. 103 for the high on Saturday, 95 for Sunday, but don't get used to it. Back to 101 for the high on Monday. All right, 16 away from 9 o'clock. Going to pause for your Wall Street business update, and I'm going to go try to find that journey clip from Stranger Things. We can play that up, so stay tuned.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Frontier Airlines, facing likely defeat in its bid to merge with Spirit Airlines, says it is done with a bidding war and is asking for another delay in a shareholder vote on the deal. The Frontier CEO said in a letter made public Monday that his airline is very far from winning approval by Spirit shareholders, who are weighing a higher price buyout offer from JetBlue Airways. A shareholder vote at Spirit, already postponed 3 times, is scheduled for Friday. A major natural gas pipeline from Russia to Western Europe shut down Monday for annual maintenance as Germany prepared to give the green light for 10 coal-fired power plants to restart because of concerns that Russia may not resume the flow of gas as scheduled. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline runs under the Baltic Sea from Russia and is Germany's main source of Russian gas. Gas is usually sent onward to other countries as well. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Sometimes when you hit the road hits back. That's why MTA Mechanics and Tire carries major brands like Bridgestone, Cooper, and Michelin. Not only do you get top brand tires, but you also get a nationwide warranty. So wherever you are, MTA Mechanics and Tire has you covered. Stop by or let MTA come to you with their MTA Mobile Tire Shop, covering Roswell, Carlsbad, and Artesia. They can come to your home, office, or even the airport, and alignment is included on all sets of 4 tires. MTA Mechanics and Tires, getting you back on the road.
Bob Reed Pest Control protects you and your home by controlling pests that invade. Bob Reed Pest Control understands the importance of safety in and around your home from unwanted pests. Protect your family's most important investment, your home, and protect your children and pets from the dangers of poisonous bugs and insects. Call Bob Reed Pest Control today and let our fully licensed pest control professionals start working for you and your family. Find us fast in names and numbers. Call 623-5344, serving all of Southeast New Mexico.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The Goodyear Rubber Company researched and concluded that shoes wear out faster on the right foot than on the left. To fix this, just walk backwards for half the day. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes away from 9 o'clock. By the way, if you missed any portion of today's show, you can always go back and check out the show in its entirety over at ksvptv.com or on our YouTube page. You can check out the show in its entirety there. After the show, hopefully young Roy will take the interviews that we did today, piece them up for you, and post them up over on the Facebook page, Roswell's Talk FM on Facebook. If you're not there, by the way, if you haven't liked us and subscribed to us yet, you should do just that. Give us a thumbs up button, smash that like button, and comment below. But definitely find us on Facebook. Just go to Facebook, search for 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. So Roy sort of inspired me to find that clip, and I did find it. Okay, so this is basically the last thing you see before the big. I haven't gotten to the epic finale of Stranger Things. I'm waiting for it tonight, but I'm sitting there. Okay, so here's how. Let me paint the picture for you. I've been waiting until the sun is at least going down to start watching Stranger Things, because this season especially is one of the darkest seasons, and I mean, lighting is so dark. It's so hard to see. So basically, here it is. It's me alone on my couch, pitch black room. Okay, my cat next to me, cuddled up, a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar sitting nestled onto the coffee table, my vape sitting right about there. The scene is the gang, all set up and ready, is driving into Winnebago. Steve is driving. Got the cans on. Okay, Steve's driving. There's this epic kind of lull, and they do a slow pan over of the crew. There's fear on faces. Lucas is worried. Max is rocking Kate Bush in her headphones. There it goes. Turn on the captions because I'm like, hear the journey start.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. Clutching onto rings. Oh my gosh, he's worried. Look, dude, goosebumps. Oh, it's so good. Nancy's so shook. They know how to remix a song, don't they? It's just, it's so good. We're probably gonna get copyright flagged from Journey's people, but and just this slow crescendo. Wait for it. Let me find you right now. It is. Oh, it's such a good show. So if you're not watching this has not been an infomercial for Stranger Things, I promise. But if you're not watching, you really, really need to be, because the series is almost over, and it's gearing up for just an absolutely epic conclusion. Should be good. Also, finished The Boys over the weekend. That's definitely not one you want to watch with your family. I would not recommend that one for the old fam. That's probably not going to be one that's going to sit well with them, but it's very entertaining. If you're a fan of the comic book genre, that's that type of story, it's definitely one that would be worth checking out for sure. Looking at 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock on this here Tuesday morning. Hey, real quickly wanted to let you know, and we mentioned this earlier too, but the ENMU Roswell pool is officially open for summer 2022. It's open 7 days a week from 10 to 11 for lap swimming, and it's also open from 11 to 5 every single day for enjoy your open swim. It's just $5 for the whole day too. Once you pay, you get to stay the whole day. We're talking full concession stand, lots of covered seating, and a whole lot more. Summer passes, by the way, are available, and if you want to get those, you can get those now. ENMUR students, by the way, you get in for half off. And if you want to book the pool for your next event or get together, you can do just that and run the pool from 6 to 10 p.m. For information or reservations, call 624-7305. That's 624-7305. Real quick, wanted to let you know that the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association presents their annual Leadership Institute for 2022. Roswell and the surrounding area, they've been a very supportive community of this. Basically, they're asking for a $250 donation to make this program happen. Contributions will defray program costs as well as provide scholarships for some students to further their education. Consider the opportunity to nurture future leaders of our community and help out with the Leadership Roswell Alumni Association Team Leadership Institute scholarships. If you can help out, contact Desi at 575-420-8732 with any questions, or if you can sponsor, that's Desi at 575-420-8732. Is that our guest?
Yes, I had to get our guest.
Oh, very good, very good.
Did I miss anything?
No, nothing of super severe importance other than the fact that I lost my notes. So you look like you had something on your mind.
Oh, no, just the whole Stranger Things thing was
Oh, yeah.
pretty fascinating.
Dude, it's incredible. It's absolutely astonishing the way there it is. Absolutely astonishing the way they've put this.
They should do that
this
more.
season
Like,
together.
I like that where they take a piece of music, instill it perfectly into a show,
right,
to where it fits lyrically.
Yeah, 'cause
and
I've never sat and listened. I mean, I love Journey. I love the music of Journey, but Journey's one of those bands that you don't really sit down and examine the lyrics, or at least I never did. That song is intense. Like when it's put in the right scenario, in the right situation, that song, it really does make you feel things,
Like I think I brought this up before, but during the O.J. Simpson versus the People show.
Oh yeah,
that song, the '90s, everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, that song. You wouldn't think that song would have any emotional feeling to it or any meaning at all, but when they use that song at the end of O.J. Simpson, it the time period it was in and the way it's used just fits the narrative of that story so well.
I agree, and that's another one of those. I can't remember the guy's name. It's Ryan something, but the people that did the American Crime Stories, they're in that exact same mindset of they can take a story and flesh it out and really give it the cultural significance that makes you feel like, oh, I remember this is where I was at that time, and it puts you in that place. It's something that you don't really think about until you get on the other side of that camera, but that attention to detail, that ability to kind of take a person back to a specific era, both with props and with
period pieces,
the
can
way
be
conversations
amazing.
are. It's something that's easy to mess up, though. It's something that's really easy. If case in point, do you remember the infamous coffee cup from Game of Thrones?
I was about to bring that up myself.
Yep, that some PA forgot to take the Starbucks cup out of the background of a scene on the last season of Game of Thrones, and the internet went nuts about it. Now, in fairness, they had multiple layers to catch this. Sure, the continuity people didn't catch it. Maybe the on-set director didn't catch it. Maybe the actors themselves didn't catch it. That thing had to go through post-production. Somebody painstakingly edited every scene of that show. So part of me was like, did they leave it in on purpose so we can still talk about it?
I feel like they did.
Because we are still talking about it. There might be something to that. Something to think about.
I wonder how many times that actually does happen and we don't even notice it.
We're just like a piece of
like someone's hat is in the background or something.
Well, and so here's the thing. I've always, before I wanted to get in radio, I wanted to do Foley. That's what I wanted to do for a living beforehand. Foley, for those who don't know, is the people that make sound effects for movies, TV shows, and for back in the day for old radio shows. If you've ever watched somebody do Foley, it's absolutely amazing how they'll have a bucket of gravel on a table or there was one, it's if you want to simulate the sound of the cinematic punch sound effect that we all know, that's actually the sound of what was it? A paddleboard slapping a steak.
Okay.
It makes that sound.
Yeah, they're super interesting.
Yeah, and those the sounds that a lot of us know are copywritten. Believe it or not, you can actually get copyright struck for using the traditional sounds. That's why there's all kinds of royalty-free workarounds online.
Yeah, they're all owned by Warner Brothers or something.
But you get used to certain versions of things. Like everybody's heard the Wilhelm scream. But technically you're not allowed to use it.
Oh, okay.
But everybody does.
Because it's less than a second or
well,
whatever.
it's less than a second, but also what was the copyright holder understands the cultural significance. At least this is how I've gathered it.
Yeah.
So they're more free with letting folks use the Wilhelm scream in different things. But yeah, finding out the origins of sound is absolutely phenomenal. But
There's
sorry, go ahead.
There's a bonk sound in Looney Tunes, like the bonk. Yeah. You know, that one is so someone took a bathtub, like a ivory bathtub, and dropped it into a pool filled with water.
And it made that bonk sound?
And it hit the bottom. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's a bathtub hitting the bottom of a pool. And it's just going boom.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I love stuff like that. But kind of in that same mindset is the people who are responsible for continuity on film sets.
Yeah.
So like if you have a character that's smoking a cigarette, you have to have several versions of that cigarette at the ready, because if they're going to continue to smoke the cigarette and they do another scene, well, then the lengths of the cigarette are going to look odd. So it's things like that. Like there's somebody on a good movie set that's in charge of like looking at water levels to make sure they haven't dropped, and adding just a little bit of water into the background of a cup of a scene.
Yeah.
So you'd think with all of these
Director
layers,
photography.
Yeah, all of these layers of folks to catch stuff like that. If something slips through the cracks like a coffee cup in Game of Thrones, that feels super intentional, doesn't it? Like it feels like they just did it to get us talking about it. And we're talking about it, so I guess mission accomplished.
I mean, considering how the rest of the Game of Thrones was, it's not surprising seeing the incompetence at the time.
There's a guy I watch on YouTube. He just does shorts. His channel's called Scott Prop and Roll. He's an actual props manager for film and TV shows. But he goes through and he shows all these secrets of like how they do things. So like the last one he did was movie ice cream that's actually edible. Like how do you do, I got a clock over here, homie. How do you do movie ice cream that's actually edible? And it's crazy how they do it. It's cake frosting and powdered sugar. And basically you use enough powdered sugar to where it basically kind of looks like bread dough. And then you roll it in Oreos. And it sits on top of an ice cream cone under studio lights and everything, and it will not melt. It's just like, it looks just like regular ice cream, but it will not melt. He does all the kinds of crazy stuff with props.
It's when they make the fake food advertisements for the 50s.
Yeah, just stuff like that is absolutely fascinating. We got to go with this hour, but you're listening to 106.5 KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Town Hall News up next. Stay tuned, and we will get you there on the other side of these.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Shunned by the West because of his war on Ukraine, Russian President Putin planning a visit to Iran next week. He'll meet with the leaders of that country as well as with Turkey's president. The White House suspects Iran is preparing to supply Russia with weapons-capable drones for use in Ukraine. Several 7-Eleven stores targeted in a deadly Southern California crime spree.
Police are searching for the same lone gunman in several of what Brea Police Captain Phil Rodriguez calls robberies that turned into homicides.
Not 100% sure, but we feel confident that it is the same suspect.
2 people killed, 3 wounded by the gunman who authorities have surveillance video of.
And we are asking the public's help in identifying that person.
The robberies began around midnight at a 7-Eleven in Ontario, then Upland. In Riverside, a customer was shot. In Santa Ana and Brea, workers were killed. And in La Habra, 5 hours after it all began, 2 were injured by gunshots. I'm Julie Walker.
Surging crime, including drug use, prompting Starbucks to close 16 of its stores around the country by month's end. 6 locations in Seattle, 6 in Los Angeles, 2 in Portland, Oregon, and 1 each in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., being closed permanently. President Biden says his pending trip to the Mideast is all about working to stabilize that volatile region. The president leaves Washington this evening. He will travel to Israel and Saudi Arabia. Mr. Biden previously called Saudi Arabia a pariah state because of its record on human rights. On Wall Street, stocks have turned mixed. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is 82 points higher, the Nasdaq down 27 points, and the S&P 3 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Despite fears of missile strikes on Kramatorsk, some residents of that Ukrainian city insist on staying put.
Across the beleaguered city, Valery Ilchenko sits under the shade of trees, working on a crossword puzzle. The 70-year-old widower has difficulty walking, and this daily ritual gets him through the day. Now the governor of Donetsk province wants its 350,000 remaining residents to move to safer places in western Ukraine. But like many other civilians who have come under fire in the nearly 5-month-old war, Ilchenko has no intention of leaving, no matter how close the fighting gets. He tells the AP, "I don't have anywhere to go and don't want to either. What would I do there?" I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Prosecutors in Poland's capital questioning witnesses after a 31-year-old man allegedly planted a powerful explosive in a downtown area. It did not go off. Townhall.com. It's a new conundrum for law enforcement in this post-Roe era.
When an officer pulled Brandy Batone over for driving by herself in a high-occupancy vehicle lane in Texas, just days after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, she pointed to her pregnant belly and told him her unborn daughter now counts as a person. Batone, who was 8 months pregnant when she was pulled over June 29th, says she told him that with everything going on, this counts as a baby. In Texas, the fall of Roe put in motion a trigger law that would ban virtually all abortions and defines an unborn child as a living human from fertilization to birth. Keith Peters reporting.
The people of Japan bid a final farewell to the late Shinzo Abe. A long line of people filling the sidewalks outside downtown Tokyo's Joji Temple, paying their respects to the former prime minister who was recently assassinated. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3. Good trill. A morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the second day of the rest of your life. Hopefully your Tuesday's off to a good start. You know, I was telling young Roy, and I forget to do it every single time I fill in for Mixmaster Mike, I have my own intro music. Mm-hmm. I did it years ago when I was filling in for Gene. I'm like, well, I want an intro. He gets white and nerdy. Mike gets Mexican radio. I want a song. So,
and you picked the perfect one.
With that in mind, Here is the news. Since we're talking about epic music.
You have to be a legend to know this one.
Or have seen Hot Rod. Just remind me to turn my main up by the end of this thing.
We have the chance to turn the pages on. We can write what we want to write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much older.
I'm fighting everything within me to sing along.
We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son.
How long? I lost. Can we look at each other?
Down the barrel of a gun.
You're the voice, try and understand it. Make a noise, make We're not gonna live with fear. Whoa. All right, that's there you go. I just had to give you a little taste. Yeah, John Farnham, by the way, it's called "You're the Voice." If you ever want to look it up on YouTube. Boy, I've given them just lots of reasons to flag us for copyright today, haven't I?
Maybe.
But happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully your Tuesday is off to a fantastic start. Let me give you the rundown. Tell you what's coming up later this hour of the program. I'm going to be sitting down around 9:15 or so, chit-chatting with Mr. Robert Reynolds. Every month he comes by with just a smattering of all kinds of activities, goings-on, happenings around Senior Circle, with different things happening with genealogy research and all kinds of other great information. So we'll dive into that coming up here in just a few minutes. You know, I stumbled across a story. Basically, it started talking about how we've all kind of, just since COVID became a thing, we've all sort of like drifted apart. Like people that, you know, maybe you kept in real close contact with 2 years ago, you sort of just completely forgotten about. And it seems like we've lived like a decade of our lives in just the last 2.5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have anybody that you've maybe lost touch with?
I mean, I was already kind of a shut-in before COVID hit. And
yeah, admittedly, it was kind of nice for introverts. They're like, well, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh talked to thousands of people, and they had them do one of two things. Okay, so one group, they had to think about the last time they reached out to an old friend just because. Like, not for any specific reason, just to see how they're doing. And how much they thought that friend appreciated it. Now, the second group had to think about the last time that an old friend reached out to them. The point was to compare the reaction we expect and the response it actually gets. It turns out we wildly underestimate how much people appreciate when we reach out to them. Most people didn't expect a big reaction, but the ones on the receiving end were always very happy to get the call. The same thing applied for texts and emails, so you don't even have to use the old school phone method. Now, they also tested it by having people send gifts, and basically they got the same result. Once again, they underestimated how much it actually meant to the person. And the longer it's been, the better. They found that the surprise element was a huge factor. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a good opportunity to maybe, take a second to think back 3, 4, or 5 years ago, before the pandemic even hit. Were there people in my life that were, movers and shakers that sort of just, went about the business of their lives? They moved away, they started their own families, and we drifted apart or whatever. This might be a good opportunity to reach out and, get in touch with somebody you haven't talked to in a while.
Make sure they're still alive.
Yeah. Check on an old ex. See if you can't rekindle a new flame. See what happens. It's gonna put a smile on their face and make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
I on the other show that I do over on our sister station, 92.9 The Brand, I have a saying that I utilize every single day, and it's take a pebble of good and toss it into the pond of nonsense. Because if you've ever stood at the edge of a pond or a lake or a body of water, not a lake, because lakes have waves that move, a pond, like a still glassy pond, and you have one rock, and you toss that thing out in the middle of the pond, kicks up ripples, right? The ripples, and they do this, and they go out. That one little impact you had in the middle, that ripples off. When people see you doing good, throwing that one pebble of good, that random act of senseless kindness into that glassy pond, it ripples out. People see it. People talk about it. The phrase I use is good begets good. So be getting out there and doing some today.
It's contagious.
Isn't it? That's why, you just try to pepper in a little good news in the nonsense that we find ourselves living. Because if you're tuned into the constant news cycle 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, how do you smile? Where's your smile? You need a break every now and again.
How about a smile?
Have you tried to smile lately? Give it a shot. Give me a bell. How about a smile? There we go. 12 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with that weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, 80 degrees. They're saying fair, but nothing about summertime heat's been fair to me so far. Humidity is at 47%, winds out of the northeast at around 9 miles an hour. Barometer at about 30 inches with a dew point of 58 degrees. Looking at mostly sunny skies for today. It's going to be hot, 99 for the high, but you knew that already, didn't you? Winds out of the north 10 to 20 miles an hour, becoming east later in the afternoon. I realized firsthand just how hot wind can actually feel as I was driving around yesterday, just getting that hot slaps of wind in my face. It really makes you miss air conditioning. Mostly sunny and getting up to 102 for your Thursday. Winds out of the south 5 to 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy and dropping down to 73 for your Thursday night. Then mostly sunny and once again hot. It's going to be a high of right around 100 degrees. 103 once again for the high on Saturday. 95 for Sunday, and back up to triples, 101 for the high on Monday. 14 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Going to pause for a quick second, pay a couple of these bills, and after these, we chit-chatting with Mr. Robert Reynolds on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
When you think of home health care here in Roswell, what's the first thing that pops into your head? That's right, Frontier Medical. We've been doing it better than anyone else for over 20 years. From in-home nursing to physical therapy and so much more. Doctors and hospitals from Albuquerque to Lubbock and everywhere in between have been trusting their patients to us here at Frontier Medical. So when it's time to make a choice, remember Frontier Medical. 575-627-1112. Frontier Medical.
Name to remember.
Buying a sewing machine from a big box store or online might seem like a bargain, but in this case, you really do get what you pay for. Just the machine. No lessons, no help with figuring out why it isn't working the way you expect, and no one close to fix it. Buying locally from an authorized retailer may cost a little more, but in the end, it will save you time, money, and aggravation. Come see me, Chris Ann, at So Easy Sewing, 200 East College Boulevard in Roswell, and let me show you why it pays to shop local. So Easy Sewing. You've never had it so easy.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Linen can absorb up to 20 times its weight in moisture before it feels damp. Now, you don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom anymore. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Joining us in studio, Mr. Robert Reynolds. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to say hi to my listeners.
Sure.
For Tom Sama and Maria and Cheney Roebuck and Wayne. And I'd like to say hi to Tom Sama and also all my Portsea people.
There you go. Getting the shout outs out of the way early. I like it. I like how you roll. Now you came in both guns blazing with just a ton of stuff to talk about. So let's hit the ground running. First and foremost, now I'm fascinated about this by this because my mom is really into genealogy, into doing research into genealogy. She actually has our family traced back to Chaucer. Mm-hmm. We found out that we're relatives of Chaucer. Maybe that's why I chose to talk for a living because the whole wordsmithery. But you do a lot of work with the genealogical folks as well, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, do the what?
Tell us a little bit about kind of the program that you guys do.
Oh,
the genealogical program.
I'm in the genealogical. It's at Wilson Cobb Library.
Okay.
And then we do the ancestors, and it's at 1:30, and it's on the second Thursday of each month.
Okay.
And we take the summer off. We come back in September.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's anybody can come. It's $4 for a single, and $9.50 for a couple, and it's for the whole year.
Oh, really? Okay. And I mean, just a wealth of information there at the Wilson Cobb Library. So great opportunity to come on down. And again, that's the second Thursday of every month.
Yes.
Excellent. Let's talk about the High Prairie Poetry Society. Let's get technical with wordsmithery.
I'm the president of the High Prairie Poetry Society. This is my 11th year.
Okay.
And we meet at Enchanted Hill Park at 2:00.
Okay.
I got about 12, 14 people, but they're dedicated poetry people.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody's welcome to come out. And if it's bad weather, we meet at Stella's Coffee Shop.
Okay.
At 2:00. But we start back in September. We take June, July, and August off.
That sounds smart if you're going to be meeting outside. That makes a lot of sense.
And and it's a lot of fun.
Now, is it specifically for folks who write their own poems to share their poems?
No, you can read out of books.
Okay.
You can be the kids can come and read your poetry. No matter what age you are, you could be 6 years old or 100 or whatever, and you can make your own poetry. And in next month, we had a poetry book made for 8 of us poetries from a woman. She's coming from Macedonia.
Oh, wow.
And she's going to come to Roswell. And she goes on the poetry book tours for lectures.
Okay.
And she's going to come by and see us for the first time.
Very cool. That is absolutely awesome. Yeah, I have a little history with poetry myself. I have whole notebooks of poems that I would never ever let see the light of day because they are so cringy. Oh, I was painfully awkward as a teenager. I'm awkward now, but I was painfully awkward as a teenager. So some of those poems I wrote back in the day, I think they need to be burned.
Yeah, I got 100 poetry wrote, and then I sing my gospel music, my voice only. I got over 100 songs. You can put the gospel music songs and the poetry together. And you can make them either way, and they sound good.
Oh, so they're kind of like they can cross over. They can be mashed up. I like that. It's very cool. Now, we are coming up on summertime is always traditionally just terrible for blood supply. It's always at a devastating level summertime, but particularly this summer, we have seen just absolutely almost record low levels of blood in the area. So Vitalant is out there taking donations, and you wanted to talk about that as well.
Yes, we got for the Vitalant blood donation. The number is 575-578-1199, and they're looking for all types of blood, especially the O positive.
Yes,
that helps the people for the operation and stuff. And I donate every 2 months, and I try and hopefully save somebody's life.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I say it all the time, but if you don't have money to donate or time to donate, one of the best gifts that you can give is the stuff that's in your veins, because you're literally giving the gift of life. So if you can donate, please by all means do so. Again, 575-578-1199. If you can donate to Vitalant, they would absolutely appreciate that. Let's talk about the Sun Country Physical Therapy.
I've been going here. I'm in my 10th year going there. I go from 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
And it's the therapy. They do an outstanding job. You can walk in, and Monday through Thursday, they're open from 8 to 5, and on Friday from 8 to noon.
Sure.
And Daryl, he's the owner of the gym. And so far, in the last 3 years, I've lost 127 pounds.
Is that right?
And I'm losing weight. I'm not even trying to now because it's starting to burn off because he said my metabolism's changing.
Mm-hmm. And that's, you touched on something that's key right there, is once you change that metabolism, sure, you can change it back, but if you're making positive decisions and making the right choices, once you change that metabolism, it changes foundationally, like from the ground up.
The first time, the first 3 or 4 weeks, your stomach growls, and he said you got to do the diet with the weight, with the weight loss, the therapy. It don't work if you just do one of them.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that goes absolutely hand in hand. Let's move on to the next thing on the list here. If you want to go ahead and talk about that.
Now, this is July 29th and 31st. The Pecos Valley Dart Association. There's the Eagles Lodge.
Okay.
3201 South Summit. And July 29th, there's a restoration. And you can go to the Facebook event page, or you can call 575-910-5895 or 575-420-0671, and they'll give you more information.
Okay. I've never been very good at the game. I'll be honest. I'm not bar games in general. I'm okay at shuffleboard, but I'm just terrible at darts. I think a lot of it's because I'm nearsighted, so I just have a real hard time with the aim and stuff. But hey, if you're good on the boards, this might be for you. Happening at the Eagles Lodge. And again, more information, you can go to the Facebook event page or call 575-910-5895.
Yeah.
They can get you all the info you need to know. Now, I love a good pancake, and one person that knows a good pancake is the Kiwanis Club. So let's talk about Kiwanis.
Yeah, the Kiwanis, they made the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at the Stereo's Restaurant, 2303 North Main. Their number is 575-565-8900, and they got some good food there also.
Absolutely, and Kiwanis does. I mean, the Kiwanis International Group does an amazing things for folks, each and every day. So if you can ever, donate time or money to Kiwanis, they absolutely help out. One of the awesome organizations of, I believe, the United Way. And actually, when I was a kid, Kiwanis kind of touched me a little bit because Kiwanis is, at least in Marshall County, where I grew up in Oklahoma, was one of the things they did was, or spearheaded, was helping low-income folks, kids with eyewear, with eyeglasses. And they actually ended up paying for glasses for me for, I believe, 3 years in a row. So I've always had a soft spot for Kiwanis clubs. And of course, who doesn't like a pancake? So let's talk about what's happening over at the Anderson Museum.
Yeah, they had the flute practice.
Okay.
At Anderson Museum on Thursdays at 6 o'clock.
All right.
And you must be experienced because they don't have time to train you.
Sure.
And if you enjoy the flute, go over there and see the people.
I'm a fan of the flute, although I spent the majority of my time in band in the brass section. Started on trumpet and got moved down to baritone and then tuba for the last semester of high school. So I stuck with brass. But my friend, actually the band instructor over at Berendo Middle, Mrs. Bain, she is an expert flautist, and actually her area of expertise specifically is piccolo. She's a piccolo player, and she's phenomenal at it. So, you can do great things with the flute. So come on out. If you're experienced, they are looking for you at the Anderson Museum on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Harvest Ministry is out there doing some great work for the community as well. Let's talk about them for a minute.
The Harvest Ministries and Salvation Army and Community Kitchen, they need volunteers, and also they need donation of any type, and they really help the community quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, they do. Yeah, 100%. So if you want to, or if you can help out the community kitchen there for Harvest Ministries, they could absolutely use your donation because it happens in the summertime season. We saw with blood levels; those are at all-time lows. So are food levels. In general, the need is greater when some of the institutions are closed down for summertime season. So if you can help out in any way possible, that would absolutely be appreciated.
Yeah, they need a donation to all year round in the summer. The pantries run quite low.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you can help out, please do so. Enemy Roswell, they're hopping for the summertime season.
Yes, they got the occupational therapy. Dana Sanders and Sam Chavez. In the field director, you can call 575-624-7000, and they'll give you a lot more information.
575-624-7000, which is actually the main number to Enemy Roswell. You can also go on their website, which is roswell.enmu.edu, and they can direct you to there as well. I am a huge fan of these next folks because they do some great work in the community, pretty much doing exactly what their name says, spreading joy. Let's talk about the Joy Center.
Yeah, the fitness exercise, the Joy Center, 1872 North Montana. It's a 10-week course, and it's 2 times a week, and it's free. You can call 575-312-3503. But they appreciate it if you can make each session.
Absolutely. Do you know if they're still doing bingo over at the Joy Center? Do you know if they're still doing that by chance?
Yeah.
I used to call bingo actually over there at the Joy Center years and years ago. So that's pretty cool. That's it's awesome to see that they're out there doing stuff. So let's talk about, is it floral design?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
The floral design at Anderson Museum.
Okay.
That's the free garden club from New Mexico State. The flower show. You can call Pat at 575-326-8900, and she'll give you more information.
Okay, now's actually the time to start, getting yourself trained up because fair season is right around the corner. If you want to get, the blue ribbons at the, at some of the events at this year's fair, learn floral design. It'll give you a leg up and things.
Yes,
most definitely. Now let's talk about the next thing on your list here.
The Pecos Quilters. To me, the first
Quilting
Wednesday of the month is the first Methodist Church in room of 11.
Okay.
And 622-1881. And if you're interested in sewing and stuff, just give them a call.
I don't like needles. When I was in middle school, I think it was 6th grade, we had this big project where we each had to make a square for a quilt that we were making as a class. I got like 2 stitches in and I was bleeding by like stitch number 3. So it's not for me. But if you're somebody that's got maybe a callus in your finger and you got quilting in the blood, this could be for you. It's 622-1881 is the number to call. Excellent. Let's talk about the what's happening in the cars.
Yeah, Carlsbad, May through September. At the Carlsbad Museum, the 2 exhibitions, the Galaxy Warriors, the Sacred Land, and you can call 575-887-0276 for more information, and they inform you.
And this is 2 different exhibits, correct?
Yes.
But that sounds like such an epic story, doesn't it? Galactic Warriors, Sacred Lands. What happens when aliens invade a reservation? I'm just saying, the story writes itself. But if you want more information there about what's happening at the Carlsbad Museum, call 575-887-0276. Yeah. Now, the place that we're going to talk about next, a lot of people don't know this. Acoustics make the biggest difference when it comes to performance.
Yeah.
And the best acoustics in the world can be found at the Spencer Theater in Alto. I love that place for a good concert. So tell us about Spencer.
The Spencer Theater in Alto, New Mexico, the summer season. Mm-hmm. You can go to summertheater.com for more information.
Mm-hmm. SpencerTheater.com will have all the info for you about their summer series. They've got, like I said, some great shows. Personally, I've only ever seen music perform there. I watched a symphony orchestra perform there, and I was moving. It was absolutely fantastic. So go check that out. Speaking of needles, because we just were, let's talk about the Socraft Pin Pals.
The Socraft, the Pin Pals, you be 60 years or older, and it's free on Wednesdays from 1 to 3. Mm-hmm. That's the Roswell Museum and Art Center. Okay. And you can call the Art Center for the number. I forgot to put the number on there.
Yeah, no worries. You can also go to roswellmuseum.org. They'll have all the info that you need to know. So what's happening in Cloudcroft?
Now, Cloudcroft, July 3rd through the 7th, and September 27th, it's the free Shady Pines Chamber Players concert, and you can call 361-557-1960. And they'll give you more information.
Very cool. The Shady Pines Chamber Players. Very cool. So 361-557 or 1960. 557-1960 for more info on that. Bringing it back home, since we've been off on a journey to Cloudcroft and parts unknown. Let's what's happening with the Roswell Fine Arts League?
Yeah, the Roswell Fine Arts League at 223 North Main. They want new members, and you can call 575-914-0048. Or 575-625-5263, and they'll give you more information.
Excellent. That's if you want more information about the Roswell Fine Arts League. They've got all the info that you need to know. We were actually just chatting about this yesterday with the ladies from the Chavez County Health Council. Let's talk about the annual Health Expo. It's coming up on August the 6th.
The August 6th Expo at 8 a.m. to noon. It's going to be games. It's at the Boys and Girls Club. At 575-500-2295, and you can call there and give you information on everything they're doing.
Absolutely. Boys and Girls Club are also responsible for the fun run, I believe, this year. They're going to be doing that as well. So, again, if you want to be a part of the Health Expo that's going to be happening in part at the Boys and Girls Club, also the Roswell Convention and Civic Center. But for the Boys and Girls Club side of things, you can call 575-500 $22.95.
Yeah, I've been down there and it's all renovated. It's really beautiful down there.
Oh, the Boys and Girls?
Yes,
Oh,
they renovated the whole thing inside and everything.
Yeah, they got a big influx of cash, and they put that cash to some great use. They really did a great job renovating.
But they don't have no swimming pool no more.
No swimming pool, but the gym, it's absolutely gorgeous what they did at the gym.
Yes.
So, 100% encourage you guys to, if you haven't checked out the Boys and Girls Club, please do so. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Main Street Farmers and Gardeners Market. It's that time of year once again.
It started July 9th to October 8th at Main Street Farmers. It's at the courthouse lawn from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning. And you go there, you can find a little bit of everything. It's really a nice place to go to it's 4 hours every week on Saturday.
But get there early because trust me, the good stuff goes quick. The shoppers come out usually around 7:30 who want the plump produce. My friend Geneva last year, she was selling this. I can't even remember exactly what it was. It was this like granola mix, but it was legitimately the best like trail mix granola mix I've ever had in my life. And I'm hoping she's back selling it again this year because I really wants me some. But you never know what you're going to find at the Farmers and Gardeners Market. It's always a good time.
Always a good time and something different to look for.
Right. And you're getting out before it gets stupid hot in Roswell, so you can kind of enjoy sun and getting a little vitamin D while also getting some exercise. So come on out to the Farmers and Gardeners Market each and every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Now Ruidoso Downs has got an event coming up here in the very near future.
Yeah, Ruidoso Downs, the Chili the Kid Beer Wine Festival.
Chili the
It's
Kid.
at the Santa Fe Furniture Event Center. At the racetrack. You can call 575-378-4420, and they'll give more information. It's going to have all kinds of music and stuff and going on, and you can just go enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. And I love a good play on words, too. So Chili the Kid, you got to appreciate that. But definitely if you're somebody, a connoisseur of beers and wines, get ready for a Chili the Kid festival. And if you need more info, call the racetrack at 575-378-4440 for more info. Oh, we lost one. There we go. All right, let's talk about what's going on in Portales.
Yeah, Portales. It's in August. It's the Remnant Trust Exhibition, Eastern New Mexico University. It's the Golden Student Center, and you can visit Eastern New Mexico.education Remnant Trust.
It's I believe it's ENMC or enmu.edu, I believe is what the address is. Yeah. enmu.edu. Roswell.enmu.edu. If you want more information about that. Now, if you're arts and crafts minded, what's going on the second Saturday?
Yeah, the second Saturday I go to this, and they got stuff you can make for crafts and stuff.
Yep.
And it's Roswell Museum Art Center from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's always the second Saturday of each month, 12 months out of the year.
Yep, and one of the best parts about it, and actually my kids love this part, you go out for their arts and crafts, stay for the planetarium show. They do a free planetarium show starting at 11 a.m. And let me tell you, the show itself, the movie that they show, it's great. What I go for are the fractals. So to get you ready to get your eyes adjusted to the theater, they show you a fractal. A fractal is just all these different like changing colors and lights, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're a fan of fractals, coming out to second Saturday, happening at the Roswell Museum and Arts Center.
Yeah.
Walk for Hope's coming up.
Well, I'm so happy they brought this back. My wife's a cancer survivor since 2007.
Absolutely.
It's going to be October 1st from 1 to 6 p.m. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the shirts for the people is $20. The cancer patients have them free. And it's going to be at the Gateway School football field.
Okay.
And this is going to be it's outstanding. All the money for the Cancer Research Station Roswell.
That's right. It all benefits the Travis County Cancer Fund, which does amazing work for folks who are dealing with cancer diagnoses. And like you said, I'm so happy to see this back. One of the people who's spearheading it is a lady I call Mama Cat, Kathy Silvis. She's been a great friend of mine for years. She's a cancer survivor herself and has been a big part of Walk for Hope and the Travis County Cancer Fund. So it's great to see that organization and that walk coming back. And actually, that seems like a better time to do it. October, it's cooler out. You're not necessarily dealing with the summertime heat, because usually it was Memorial Day weekend is when we would do the thing. So it's kind of nice to see it's kind of moving to a cooler time of the year.
They're looking for volunteers and things too.
Excellent. So yeah, if you want to volunteer for Walk for Hope, then please do so. Reach out for more information. Let's talk about what's going on at the Joe Bauman Field.
Yeah, Roswell Invaders for Joe Bauman Field. The home games are $7 per person, and the Invaders are doing pretty good.
Yeah,
and but it's if they don't make the playoffs, the season's over at the end of the month.
Sure.
If you make the playoffs, it's the first and second week of August, and then they leave.
I'll tell you it's something that I forget about, as like a thing to do here in Roswell. It's like, night at the baseball park, that's a good time. Get yourself a hot dog, some Cracker Jacks, watch the game. It's one of those things we forget that we have access to here, right here in our own backyard. So yeah, take advantage of that and go check out your Invaders.
Yeah, the game starts at 7:00 p.m.
And I believe tomorrow night it is Invader night with the Roswell Chamber of Commerce as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to be doing some great stuff out there as well with the Roswell Chamber. So come on out and be a part of that tomorrow night, starting again at 7:00. Let's talk about the Hawaiian Dance Group.
Yeah, the Hawaiian Dance Group. They're at St. Andrew's Church, 7 p.m. It's free. It's a class, 575-840-7234. And if you want to learn how the Hawaiian dance, just come on out.
If you've ever been a part, or if you ever watched the performance of the Sweet Leilanis, and you've ever wanted to be like, I want to do that, I want to do what they do, you can come on out and learn yourself a little hula hula. It's a good time. I like it. VFW is looking to sign folks up.
Yeah, the VFW, they started back at the Grace Community Church.
Okay.
They can join. It's the second Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. And they'll have a meeting and let you know if you want to join. And you can call Grace Church.
There you go. Grace Church for more information right there at 935 West Mescalero Road if you want to be a part of the new iteration of the VFW. The Bilingual Book Club. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, this is the Bilingual Book Club, July 20th at 5 p.m. at Pepper's Grill and Bar. The Little Village Girl Book, Ricardo is going to be there at 575-914-1379.
Excellent. So if you're looking to expand your bilingual reading a little bit, this could be an opportunity for you. Now, I do respect the fact that while we're giving all these plugs, you had to take a commercial break. You got to give yourself a little self-promotion. So let's talk about your music.
Yeah, this is, I got my CDs. I wrote my gospel music, and I got my CDs, all the songs I wrote, 14 songs for $15, and I wrote them. At the end of the program, we'll give my number out.
Excellent. So
it's just my voice and a piano.
Okay.
And it's you'll really enjoy it.
And like you said, handwritten. So if you want one of a kind gospel music, we can make that happen for you. We'll give Robert's number out at the end of the program here today. Let's talk about what's happening at the end of the month of August.
Yes, this is the drive-through for a fundraiser at the Historical Society, and it's going to be August 25th.
Okay.
575-622-8333, and they'll give you more information.
If you've never been a part of the Historical Society's drive-through fundraisers, then you don't know about the origin of Big Flat Mike over here. That's that came to us via a Historical Society drive-through fundraiser. So magic happens at these fundraisers, folks. Be a part of them. What's going on at the Liberty? I've been hearing a lot about this. Let's talk about LibFest.
August 20th. It's Liberty. It's going to be the Liberty Fest at Liberty, 312 North Virginia. You can go to the Facebook page or call 575-627-2600, and they'll give you more information on everything.
I got a few friends that are going to be playing at that set. So definitely come on out and support local music, folks, because Liberty is doing great things, bringing in awesome artists from all over the Texas country genre, from some great artists of yesterday. So definitely support the Liberty and all the fine work that they do. Once again, more info at thelibertyinc.com.
Yes.
It's over there at 329 North Virginia. Let's talk about what's happening with the free movie program.
Yeah, this is a transplant movie. On August the 9th.
Yep.
July the 9th. August 9th. They're going to have Space Jam. Then they're going to have, the 9th. Then August 12th, they're going to have the movie, The Art Center.
Okay. And where is this happening?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So be a part of that if you want to check out some great movies under the stars. Let's talk. And now we're obviously still in the throes of summertime, but fall time's right around the corner, and we know what happens in Roswell in our areas around the fall time, and that's the gathering of all of the dragonflies. Let's talk about dragonfly.
I'm so happy they brought this dragonfly back because I go down there and enjoy myself. Like, it's really
just
fun.
the sound alone. It's just going out there, all the. It's great.
That pandemic closed a lot of stuff down.
Yeah, it really did.
It's October 1st from. I got 6 to 10 p.m. I think it goes all day though.
It does, yeah. I think it's maybe 6 a.m. because they have a lot of those folks that come out for the early bird viewings. They do a lot of the either the bird watching first thing in the morning. They do a lot of the wetlands talks and tours around that time as well. So I think it kicks off right about sunrise.
I think you got the band tours too. The band.
Really? Oh, very cool.
And the Bitter Lake.
Yeah.
And you can go out and look for different kind of dragonflies and stuff.
I think they said over 150 different species of dragonflies make their way through Bitter Lake. So it's definitely a great time to come on out and check it out. October 1st.
They got vendors down there and also 2 years ago they had a fish pond also.
Yes.
That was really fun.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have the folks on here in the very near future to talk about, from Bitter Lakes, to talk about the Dragonfly Fest and the return of the dragonflies. Well, it's that time of season. It's that time of year. The Eddy County Fair is almost here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Eddy County Fair, July 26th to 30th. Mm-hmm. That's at eddycountyfair.com for more information.
Always a good time. And the concerts this year, they're definitely pulling out the stops. If you want to come out on Friday, enjoy a little bull riding action, Extreme Bulls. And right after that, Texas country hitmaker himself, Mr. Aaron Watson. I am stoked about that one. I can't wait to see Aaron Watson in concert. So, get more info at eddycountyfair.com and get ready for July 26th through the 30th, the Eddy County Fair. So, what's happening with Santa Fe?
Yeah, the Santa Fe, October 1st and 2nd, they're going to have the Harvest Fest.
Okay.
And for more information, go to the Facebook event page. That's all I have on that.
Excellent. So they're going to be doing something. It's the Harvest Fest, and that's going to be happening in Santa Fe in October. So get excited for that. And again, the Facebook events page for more info about that. Yeah. Moving back over to Carlsbad, something going on over there as well.
Yeah, September 20th, October 1st, at Renaissance Festival. It'll be 48 on Friday and Saturdays from 10 to 8. There's a lot of things to do down there. Mm-hmm. You can go to the Facebook event page.
You ever been to a Renaissance Festival?
Yes.
It is, without a doubt, one of the most surreal experiences you'll ever have. You're going to, at the same time, see a dude like 300 pounds walking around with a giant turkey leg and the other guy walking around with cotton candy, and he'll sit there and argue with you what they had spun sugar in the Renaissance. It's like, all right, dude, enjoy your cotton candy, whatever. But yeah, definitely check it out. If Renaissance fairs are your thing, it's going to be a good time. Well, did we get through it all?
Yeah. I always tell Mike, y'all do a wonderful job here.
Thank you.
Because I try to get the people out of the house, the shut-ins and stuff.
Sure.
Give them something to do around the state and around Roswell.
And you're proof that there is so much to do here. You hear all the time, there's nothing to do in Roswell. When's the last time you went to an Invader game? When's the last time you went and saw a show at the Liberty? When's the last time you got out to Bitter Lakes or Bottomless Lakes or one of the other amazing places we have right in here in our own backyard?
And they got the museums open also.
Of course, absolutely.
There's something to do.
Exactly.
You just got to get out of the house and do it if you're able to, you know.
That's right. You just got to get creative. Rob, if folks want more information about any of the stuff you talked about, or if they want to purchase your CD, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. I'll give my number for any of these programs. It's Robert Reynolds, 575-208-9513. And you can call anytime. And I have my cell phone for voicemail.
Excellent. So 575-208-9513 if you need more information about anything we talked about today, or if you want to get Robert's CD. Well, Robert, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate having you here. And honestly, to all the community organizations that you support and that you're a part of, we thank you for everything that you do for our community.
Thank you, and everybody have a good day.
You're one of the unsung heroes, sir. We appreciate you. 14 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with some local weather.
Now for a Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A local teenager arrested and charged with multiple criminal counts in connection with the Sunday evening shooting of a store manager. The store manager fought with the teen after seeing him in the process of shoplifting gun ammunition. 16-year-old Jeremiah Martinez is accused of using the gun he concealed in his pants to shoot the manager of the Big R store in the 1300 block of South Main Street in Roswell. The store owner is in stable condition at a hospital today. A former New Mexico police officer charged with murder in a man's death during a 2020 struggle with officers did not properly use a chokehold that gradually ended the man's life. That's according to a prosecutor who told jurors Monday in the opening statements at the ex-officer's trial. Las Cruces police officer Christopher Smelzer had told investigators he had difficulty in applying the lateral vascular neck restraint on Antonio Valenzuela because the man kept tucking his chin. But he eventually did carry out the maneuver by sliding his arm under Valenzuela's chin when he lifted his head. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Biden apparently last week, following reports of our emergency strategic petroleum reserves, we're sending oil to China. More than 5 million barrels of oil released from the strategic petroleum reserves have been diverted to European and Asian nations instead of U.S. refineries. He's even dumber than I thought, if it's even him making the decision. And on top of that, Wall Street Journal had an interesting piece out, how our EPA has now announced that they may soon deem parts of the Permian Basin in Texas and New Mexico in, quote, non-attainment because of ozone standards.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, it's summertime, and if your project to-do list looks anything like mine, it's probably pretty long. You can stay cool, save up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com, and ordering online does not mean sacrificing style or service. At Blinds.com, they have premium selections of shades and shutters and drapes and so much more. They have outdoor shades. Just go to Blinds.com right now, save up to 40% off site-wide, up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 1 in 3 snake bite victims is drunk. 1 in 5 is tattooed. Hold my beer and check this out. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 11 minutes away from 10 o'clock. By the way, if you missed any portion of today's program, you can always go back and check it out in its entirety at ksvptv.com. Just click on the Mornings with Mike Winters tab, and you'll be treated to our shows in their entirety. You can also check out the program piecemeal, if you will, as they call a la carte, once young Roy gets the show pieced up here in just a little bit. And you can check that out over at our Facebook page. Just head to Facebook and search for 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. I was actually going to, just cut to the weather. I was just kind of filling some time. The big thing is right before you walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, ladies, if you have a fella in your life, they all know the term I'm about to use, or at least they know of what it is. The sneaky squeaker. Are you familiar?
I do not know what that means.
Basically, you try to get a quick fart in when nobody's in the room, thinking, okay, I could just slide a quick one out. Maybe it'll be, without any kind of smell or odor or anything. But then, right as soon as you hit peak odor, someone inevitably walks in the room. It's almost always someone from the sales department. I was actually going to be like, you don't want to go in here. You don't want to come in here. But yeah, you came in and walked in. So bask in my glory, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You're lucky it's not. I can't smell anything right now.
Thank God for COVID, man, because I'm totally. But all right, at 9 minutes away from.
We were talking about memes. That you were saying the Mark Wahlberg meme.
Yeah.
About the
what? No.
Yeah. And I think the recent one that's shown up is the Christian Bale from American Psycho, where they show something that's like impossible, and then like he said, I don't know if I can say it on the air, but he says like, why not? Like, why it doesn't work? Why doesn't it work?
Oh yeah. That's a weird movie. American Psycho is a very odd movie. The color is bone. This is Susudio. It's very quotable. It's also very very.
Like, why
creepy.
not? You stupid B word or something.
Yeah. If you really want a fun Christian Bale deep dive, go check out his on-set rant at I think it was like a PA or a director. I can't remember what the movie was, but he went nuts on somebody several years ago, screaming, "You don't even know how to do your job. How can I do mine?" It would just go. It's a fun watch. 8 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's pause and get you up to date with that weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Looks pretty hot today, mostly sunny, and our afternoon high around 100, maybe low 100s. Partly cloudy for the overnight hours, and our lows near 70, and then we're in the upper 90s and low 100s with sunshine coming up again on Wednesday. Wednesday night, few clouds down to 72, and then we heat up again on Thursday and Friday, back up to about 100 and sunny. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 82 degrees around Roswell, humidity at 47%, winds out of the north. I don't know why we have to cut to camera when I'm reading the weather. I just assume static screen. People don't need to look at my mug. They could just, stare at the statics. There we go. Thanks, buddy. Humidity at about 47%, winds out of the northeast at around 9 miles an hour. I'm just saying I got into radio so that no one would have to see me. Really blew up in my face. Mostly sunny and 99 for today. It's going to be hot out there, folks. Winds out of the north 10 to 20 miles an hour, becoming east later in the afternoon. Partly cloudy and dropping down to 71 for the overnight low. East winds 5 to 15, becoming north after midnight. And for your Wednesday, mostly sunny and is going to be hot. Winds out of the west 5 to 10 miles an hour, 99 for the high for your Wednesday. Partly cloudy, 74 for your overnight low on Wednesday night. And then for Thursday, what do you want? Sunny, hot, 102, some wind. Summer in Roswell. Partly cloudy, 73 for your Thursday night. Friday, hot, round 100, 103 for the high on Saturday. Slight break at 95 on Sunday, and 101 for your Monday high. Now, bear in mind, we are still in monsoon season. Hopefully that actually means something for us. Our fingers crossed on a little bit of that monsoonal moisture. 6 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's pause for a quick minute with your Wall Street Business Report.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Facing air travel chaos, Europe's busiest airport, London's Heathrow, is capping daily passenger traffic at 100,000 travelers. The limits remain in effect until September 11th. Today marks the start of Amazon's annual Prime Day.
Each year, Amazon has used the two-day Prime Day sales event to try to lure people to its Prime membership, which now costs $139 a year. But sales have slowed since the beginning of the pandemic, and Amazon could use a boost.
And that's correspondent Donna Warder reporting. As Wall Street awaits this week's release of the government's latest report on inflation, the benchmarks have been bouncing between gains and losses. Overseas, shares in Europe declined in midday trading, benchmarks finishing lower in Tokyo and Seoul, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
One of the best things about summertime in New Mexico is all the great places to go and neat things to do. Camping in the mountains, swimming at the lake, exploring the caverns, and so much more. And what makes all this fun and adventure possible is a dependable car or truck that fits your family and hauls your toys. That's just what you'll find at Roswell Ford. Here at the Tailgate Nation, we have the best selection of nearly new cars, trucks, and SUVs in southeastern New Mexico. They've all survived a rigorous 139-point inspection, and Roswell Ford gives you a 3-day money-back guarantee to make sure you're happy. You know Roswell Ford is always looking for gently used cars and trucks. If you have one you want to sell, we'll make you a cash offer on the spot and give you a week to think about it. This summer isn't going to last forever, so make the most of it with an upgraded ride from your friends at the Tailgate Nation. Roswell Ford at the corner of 9th and Main, the official sponsor of Summer Fun.
Are you tired of the endless spiral of medications that mostly are there to treat the side effects of other medications you take? Many medical providers are quick to prescribe medication without looking for healthier treatment options. At Roswell Medical Clinic, we practice functional medicine, which looks for ways to treat your illness with healthier lifestyle changes and fewer pills. At Roswell Medical Clinic, our providers will take the time to explore treatment options that include lifestyle changes and don't necessarily rely on more prescriptions. Call Roswell Medical Clinic today to schedule your appointment at 575-623-3311 or stop by our clinic at 111 West Hobbs in Roswell. Roswell Medical Clinic. Don't wait for an illness to start valuing your wellness.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The first toilet being flushed in a motion picture was in the movie Psycho. Mike thought it was Gone with the Wind. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 3 minutes away from 10 o'clock on a morning without Mike Winters. Once again, Mixmaster Mike should be back inside of your radios and back in the captain's chair tomorrow, hopefully, barring any kind of seriously catastrophic issues and injuries. Can't wait to hear a few stories of all the goings-on, the shenanigans happening up the hill. I want to see if he comes back with 2 tattoos. All right, let's see if he wants to man up. By the way, I've yet to get a good read on anybody when I show them these. I know they're silly, I know they're stupid, but everybody tells me the same thing. They all say, cute. It's like, y'all, I don't need to hear that. All right, cool. You could just say nothing. You could say that's silly or that was stupid, but yeah, it was fun. A little burn for a minute. It's kind of nice. As I mentioned earlier, if you missed any portion of the program, you can always go back and check it out at your convenience at ksvptv.com and over on our Facebook page here in the next little bit. Roy will take those interviews and post them up for you piecemeal. I fully recommend that you go back and check out some of the interviews today because we had some great conversation. The 7 o'clock hour, our conversation with Dr. Mark Andrews from Roswell Medical Clinic. That was a great and fascinating conversation. And I'll tell you this, I'm a lot more inspired to get back onto the keto thing after talking to him. Maybe more like the Mediterranean thing. But also, I feel like he knows a lot more about stuff that goes into our stuff. That might be worth doing some research on. But I'll check that interview out again. I fully recommend you do the same as well. In the 8 o'clock hour, we had a great conversation with Colonel Jose Boro, the athletic director for New Mexico Military Institute, gearing up for that grand opening of the Cahoon Armory. That's going to be happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Your chance to browse the facilities and get a real behind-the-scenes look at what the brand new facility has to offer. And like I said, it's an absolutely beautiful facility. If you haven't seen it, the pictures, go over to our Facebook page and check them out for yourself. And once again, in the 9 o'clock hour here, just a few minutes ago, we had a great conversation with Mr. Robert Reynolds. Just a smattering of all sorts of information about events and stuff happening right here in our neck of the woods. And if you want any more information from Robert on anything we talked about, or if you want to buy his CD, you can do just that by calling 575-208-9513. That's 575-208-9513. Got Clay and Buck on the way to you next here in just a few minutes. And of course, Mixmaster Mike back inside your radios and in the captain's chair tomorrow morning. Big thanks to everybody for joining us on a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 KEND Roswell, New Mexico. Till next time, be seeing you.
On air and online, this is Roswell's home for talk radio.